This is the XNC Podcast, your Xbox newscast, featuring Colteastwood and Mag, hosting industry interviews and gaming talk live on YouTube every Monday night at 5 p.m. on the West Coast, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. For all of you listening around the world, XNC Podcast is available on demand on Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Welcome to the show. Join the chat, hit the like button, and let's get into this week's topics with the Xbox Newscast. Welcome to episode 143. I'm Colteastwood, the host of XNC, and my handsome, fantastic co-host, middle-aged game guy, is back with me. How are you doing, bro?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic tonight, Colt. Happy April Fool's Day, everybody. So I hope that everybody got a nice full dose of nonsense on the socials today, on Twitter and TikTok and everything else about fake gaming news and all that. So it wouldn't be any different than what we're used to, but you know, that's how it goes. But anyways, I hope everybody had a great weekend, and for those who celebrate, had a great Easter weekend with your family and friends, and I hope everything went well. And yeah, other than that, let's talk about some games tonight, Colt. What have you been playing this week, buddy?
We will. I got to say in the chat, we got Paul Smith that says, Colt, you beautiful balding bastard, and Mag, the crazy cranium Canuck.
Oh, I see you, Paul Smith. I see you. I see you, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been busy. What's the other one?
No, I see Capono. He's like, Mag crawled back. From where? Your mom's bed? Yeah, anyway, sorry. Go on, Colt.
Went camping with my son this weekend. Spent a lot of time with family for Easter. Kind of got some time to just kind of chill and enjoy that, and had some ham, potatoes, all that. What do you Canadians do over there when it comes to Easter? You guys have something different. You guys dress up as Canadian meese, and what is it?
Meese. I'm Italian by heritage, right? So, Good Friday's a big one for us. It's bigger than it is for the Easter Sunday. So what we do is we usually have a whole lot of seafood and stuff like that on the Friday. Now, my wife is deathly allergic to seafood, so we do other stuff too. So we did lamb and all kinds of crazy stuff, and then we also had our seafood on top of that, and we kept it separate.
Wait, what's the seafood significance? I missed that.
It used to be a religious thing where a lot of Christians wouldn't eat meat on Fridays.
Okay.
So a lot of people would observe just not eating meat on Friday, so it was always fish, right? So then that tradition carried on through the centuries and all that stuff, and well, here we are. So the Italians tend to follow that through in spades, because it's one thing we like to do is cook a lot of food. So it was a ton of seafood, a ton of awesome stuff and all that, and then we had leg of lamb on top of that, and so my wife was able to eat and not die, it was great. That was Friday, and then Easter Sunday, yesterday, we actually went to a banquet hall, so that my wife's side of the family didn't have to cook at all, and then we had another huge Italian feast. She's not Italian, she's Irish, but we just went to this place and it was awesome. So it was great. Good times. But as for a Canadian thing, we don't really do anything specific. Canada just basically used to be just part of the monarchy. At some point, it was all just British. So it was all just, it is what it is. But anyways, what did you do besides the camping and eating ham and potatoes? Did you do any gaming at all?
I haven't doing a ton of gaming, but like we have this family tradition where my mother-in-law buys like 75 eggs, and then all the nieces and nephews, and like growing up, like when I was a young adult, I guess we've always done the eggs. So we color and decorate 75 eggs, and it just takes all evening. We order pizza and we do that until the house reeks of vinegar from the mixture and everything. And then the next day we go and have dinner at the other part of the family's house. And then we hide all the eggs. And then the reason why I tell about the eggs is all these little kids and, my kids, which were getting too old for it, all these eggs are gathered up. And then at the end of the afternoon, my mother-in-law is like, you guys take the eggs. You guys have a family. I'm like, I don't want the eggs. I don't want all these stinking, sulfur-smelling vinegar eggs all over in the... I just want to throw them out the window on the way home. Throw them to all the coyotes or something.
Well, we obviously do chocolate eggs, but my wife goes completely over the top, and she's like, all right, let's go hide the eggs before the kids wake up, right? Because we do an Easter egg hunt and all that, and they get their baskets and they run around the house and blah blah blah. She buys like 480 eggs, and I'm like, what are you doing? So it gets to the point where not only do we find eggs 7 months down the road, you know what I mean? Like you put on a pair of put on a pair of Crocs
to go out and mow the lawn.
Yeah, and then you put your foot in, you're like, what the hell is this? And you go and there's a Cadbury Easter cream egg in there from March, and and then there's that, and then we find them all over the place. Or it got to the point where there's so many bloody eggs because she buys these huge bags, like these bulk bags of eggs. I have to put like handfuls in each hiding spot. It's utterly ridiculous. So the kids are just like loading up on this thing, and they have a blast anyway. It's a good time. But my God, it's just
at least yours aren't friggin' rotten.
No, they're
yolk
not real. They're just chocolate. It's chocolate. Like we buy Reese's, we buy Cadbury, we buy whatever. We buy caramel ones, like a little egg stuffed with caramel, like good stuff.
Yeah,
the only problem is they make you fat when you eat like 400 of them, right? So, it's kind of a thing. Or diabetes, one of the two. I don't know. Excuse me.
Yeah, like when my mother-in-law was trying to give us the rest of the hard-boiled eggs, and I was like, what's that? What's that? And I rolled up the window like, and just took off.
And by the way, someone in the chat said 75 eggs cost like $1 million now. You're probably not wrong. So
yeah, that's really true. Let us know in the chat what your traditions are.
I see what you said. He was the one who said it. Then, of course, he said something else, which had to be hidden by the modders. That was funny.
Well, Mag will he will lay some eggs by the end of the Easter weekend. You were asking me what I was playing, and
yes,
I've been really dinking around with MLB The Show 24.
Oh.
They added the pitch clock to it. I looked down at my phone to see a message or something, and it's like pitch clock violation. I'm like, what? They said they were going to do that last year, but I have been playing a ton of Dragon's Dogma. So I have 20 minutes of footage that I'll play here for the first part of the show, and then we will move on to the rest of the topics. But before we do that, while you're looking at this, what you're seeing here is record that. It's like 30-second bits, probably 45 different clips of Dragon's Dogma, the first half of the game, so not anything spoilery, but what a great game. Really enjoying it. Coming around to the end of it probably here soon. But before I do that, Mag, I'll give you a break from your war stories of Easter, and I will read the channel members and veterans of the Patreon. We got KY Bob, Assassin, Lupa, Jazzy Newtbox, Hargeet Chani, Jason the Wan, Lord Senator, William Riggs, Farscape, Matt Houston, Zimic, Nelson, Bernal Vigil, Kings 5050, Happy Bomb, Decatron, Ricks for Trey, Armin LaRoche, Matt Burns, Udonic Izada, Robert Jackson, Dante Moody, Betamax, Septic Sauce, Xander White, V Simcoe, Assassin Dub, Raiden Played, Risk It for the Biscuit, True 77, Mike and Ford, Pen Pineapple Pen, Trell Roberts, Meat Puppet, Red Wolf, Jedi J Goalie, Rippin, Highlander 01, Techno Caveman, Fire 71, That Blue Number, Kung Fu Hot Dog, Shooter, Tex Made, VMAC, B Martin, Sith Lord, Good Old Collingwood, Dead Time, KJ Wars, Darkwave Mortem, Lord Starkiller, Kings, Justin Duell, Biff Rinaldi, and Diz Guy 07. I almost made it, Mag, without any mess ups. And I got to give a shout out to Udonic Izada and Happy Bomb for modding the chat, as well as my friends That Blue Number, Red Wolf, who are also in the chat, Hargeet Chani, Capono, Talos, the Rambo, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
You know, there's one person that I'm never going to acknowledge in the chat in text, and that is the elemental hero, the Shadow Link, Dragon Wolf King. I am not.
Is that a name?
That is a name. Go look at it in the chat.
Oh, I see it. I see him. I'm going to say hello. Go ahead.
I said it once, and that's it. I'm never going to say it again. That is literally an entire sentence. So, yeah, that's pretty funny, though. I do appreciate that.
I'm trying to autocomplete it, and YouTube's like, you've used up too many characters for his name. I'm going to say, yo. Yeah, that's awesome. So I've been playing Dragon's Dogma. It's on the screen, but what have you been spending most of your time playing this week?
I am wrapping up, finally, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and I'm almost got that 100%. Now, the funny thing is, every time I get into a Gearbox game, specifically the Borderlands series games, which I told you last week I adore, but you always get to that breaking point, especially when you're like a completionist. And I talked to a couple of completionists in the background who, message me, I message them. They're like, hey, man, you want to help me out with this 1,000? You want to help me out with this platinum on whatever system, right? And we do that. We boost each other and whatever else. And the one thing I always forget about Borderlands games, you get to that breaking point where you're just like, oh my God, is it even worth the grind? Because like, holy crap, you think you've done the grind, and you're like, this has got to be over, and you're just not even halfway, and you're like,
There's more levels.
Oh God, it is.
What level are you on right now? What location are you?
I'm max level. I'm max level 40. I've completed the story. I've completed all the side quests. I've done all that stuff. Now it's a miscellaneous thing. Oh, actually, sorry, not miscellaneous.
You're trying to mop up the whole thing?
No, I always do. I get 100%. Otherwise, I don't play it. That goes for every game. There's chaos levels now. There's like a whole separate thing called like the chaos levels, and I'm on level 5. I have to get to level 20, and I don't actually understand how the progression of this chaos level thing works. I know I'm just kind of just doing it, and it's just going up, and I guess that's good enough. But yeah, and the other achievements are just like miscellaneous stupid things like, hand a gift to a friend or whatever. Those are last minute mop-ups. But this chaos level thing, holy crap. For anybody who's playing that game right now, because I know they gave it away on PlayStation, and I think they gave it away on Xbox too. Or it showed up in Game Pass. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, or it's been dirt cheap. But I don't know if any of you guys played Tiny Tina's.
It's great.
It has a nice twist that takes what you love about Borderlands, does a little extra. And I had a character where I was throwing out spells with both hands more than I was shooting. And I really ended up liking it because it's a really different take on the game. I'm glad you're loving it.
Yeah, I am loving it. And the funny thing is, if you were to not put guns in there, I almost kind of feel that maybe that's what Avowed is going to play like.
Sure.
Is that sort of like
I've used that.
I'm getting, like,
yep.
Yeah.
I used that footage when I was talking about Avowed a year or so ago. I grabbed some Tiny Tina's footage because you were throwing out spells and before they'd shown anything. But yeah, kind of.
Yes. And so actually, because you could use the left bumpers and right bumpers, or L1, R1 if you're playing on PlayStation, and you could fire out spells and stuff like that, right? You could fire out like lightning spells, or you could shoot like an explosive barrel out of your right hand and this and that. So I was playing it and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I wonder if this is how Avowed's going to play, because I guess it's kind of that same idea, right? Like the dual hand sort of non-gun combat kind of thing. I guess we're gonna have to see when they show more footage, but I'd be interested to see. I hope it plays like Tiny Tina's in terms of its fluidity and whatever else. Now, last thing I was gonna say quickly before we move on is thank you, by the way, to the community. Colt, you're not gonna believe this. I added over 400 people on my Xbox and PlayStation friend list in 1 week.
Really?
And you know what it was? Last week we were talking. Remember last week we were talking about it because someone said it in the chat. And I see you, GeoHound. So someone mentioned in the chat. And I'm like, oh yeah, my gamer tag is I am the mag, all capitals, on both Xbox and PlayStation. I swear to God, in like 2 days, the list was just exploding, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And my wife and I started keeping count because we thought it was kind of funny. So I just want to thank the community for jumping in there. And yes, I added every single one of you, and every person who DM'd, I literally responded to every last person.
Bro, that's so cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So, and it was for both. It was for Xbox and PlayStation. So I'm like, you know what, man? That's what it's all about. The cool thing that reminded me about all that is that it shows that a lot of the people listening to the show are not just playing one system or just playing the other system. They're kind of both, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it was really cool to see. It was really cool to see gamers. You know what I mean? Like gamers, like not just like, toxic fanboys of like whatever system. It doesn't matter what. They're everywhere. They're on all sides, right? So it was nice to see people that are just embracing all of gaming, right? And I thought that was so cool. So thank you for all that.
Yeah.
Anyways, Cole, let's get into the show, dude.
Yeah, Matthew says, I don't think your character could get any closer. I don't know if you're seeing this, Mag, but my son and I spent like a half an hour or 45 minutes making this character look as close to me as possible. And in some of the cutscenes, it just makes me laugh.
I can see it.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Well, they do look like your thighs. Yes. I mean, I've seen you in hot pants. So yeah, this is pretty close to the real Colteastwood, yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to have this footage up last week, which would have been in the opening days for people who are kind of on the fence, but hopefully you guys are enjoying the footage. I've got like 20 minutes here, and then we'll get back to the show where the footage is kind of be rolling in the background. But let me grab a couple supers. We got Furry J West, who became a channel member today. Thank you and welcome. You get early access when I get back to making videos. I'll be out of town most of the week. I'm going out of the country for the first time for a convention. So I'll be back before X&C next week, so I won't have any video content until I get back from that trip. Lotus Esprit, thank you so much for the Blazing Orange super chat with a super sticker for $20. Thank you so much for doing that. And it is the You Are Amazing dancing. I was gonna say, well, it's kind of like it's got a pair that's dancing with a ring and a cane, but he's got the Richard Simmons headband on for extra measure. Our good friend Grandpa Barbecue Game Cat, thank you for gifting a channel membership. That went to Truth Serum in the chat. So welcome to that. Yogdana Kazada with the $2. Thank you so much. He says, Mag, ask God for penance for eating vending machine.
Oh God.
What is that?
I already know what he's referring to. When I was just before I crossed the border into the enemy territory known as the United States, there was a hey, relax. I'm just making jokes. Jesus, you guys are my neighbors. They had vending machine pizza.
What?
And
wait, in Canada or in the U.S.?
No, it was on the Canadian side. And it was like this, it was like this Italian like restaurant, whatever. And it says wood fire burning pizza made in a vending machine. I'm like, what the hell is this? It was $22 for a pizza, but I'm like, I gotta do this. So it was like 3 o'clock. Well, it was 3:20 in the morning. I finally went over there.
Perfect time.
It was because I just left the casino. I stumbled out of the casino, and I got back to the hotel, and I'm like, we're doing this. So I put in the.
The vending machine was in your hotel?
In the lobby, just outside the lobby.
Oh.
Yeah, and so I was smoking a cigar, and I'm walking out of the casino just tanked. And I walk over and I'm like, all right, this is happening. So I put the credit card in there and I filmed it. So I filmed the part 1 of when I saw the thing. And then 2 days later, I filmed the part 2 of me actually ordering the pizza. The pizza sucked. It was like a 3 out of 10. It was soft. It was undercooked in the middle. That could have used another 5 minutes.
And it was warm?
So it was warm, but the little Italian guy that was clearly locked inside the box,
the Keebler elf. The Italian Keebler elf.
I should have yelled in the box and be like, I would have been like, hey, can you please cook the pizza a little bit longer? Otherwise, we won't send you food and water inside that box. But anyways, it was awful. So that's what that super chat refers to.
Hey, my friend told me, as you talk about insulting in Italian, my friend told me if you do the hand gesture where you flick under your chin, it's like means like F. It's really bad.
Yeah. You could. I did that. I did that to one of the.
Did you do that to this pizza vendor guy?
No. I did it to one of the dealers in the casino, though. I almost got kicked out because I was saying so. I thought I was being quiet. I thought I was being hilarious, and my wife's like, "You're not being funny, and because everybody can hear you." And I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "What do you mean everybody can hear me?" Like the whole casino could hear me. It was bad. It was but you know what? I was winning, so I think that didn't help. But either way.
Oh my gosh.
That does mean a lot of different things, doing this under your chin and going like
I mean, I used to see it on cartoons, which is why, because I grew up way back, in the 1920s, and I would see it on cartoons. One of my friends like, no, that means that's really bad. Yeah, Red Bull says it means F you. Yeah, I figured it was, but I guess we've done worse. All right, well, I want to get to the game topics because we do a gaming podcast here. So you guys know, let me talk briefly about Dragon's Dogma 2. We're going to talk about the new consoles. We're going to talk about where Phil Spencer is sitting right now as the savior and killer of Xbox. And we're going to cover that pretty well. We're also going to talk about a new update from Xbox where they're going to do more explanation of what's happening in the future. We've got a lot to talk about, but since I have the Dragon's Dogma footage up, Mag, I wanted to briefly just say Capcom did right and fixed the microtransaction issue, but I think when you speak up and make your voice heard, you can make a change, I suppose. I don't know if you followed this, but they've been fixing
I did. Yeah, I did. And, I mean, some of them were a little bit silly, but for the most part, like I said before, like we talked about it last week, I didn't find that they interfered with the game at all. Like, for example, where was the outrage for Resident Evil Remake 2, 3, and 4 with basically the same microtransactions, minus, like I said, not all of them, minus the stupid things like the fast travel and stuff like that. That's a little much. That's a little bit over the top. But the other ones, like if you wanted to pay 99 or $1.99 to get like, an upgrade ticket, right? That you could utilize for one of your weapons just to save you a full run through of a game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the end of the world. And like
or $1.99 to customize your character if you don't have the gold. Yeah, that was kind of.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and like there was another one. Like I remember Ubisoft did one, and Mr. Boomstick bought it because he loves Pegasus. It was his thing. Shout out to Mr. Boomstick. Go sub to Double Barrel Gaming, by the way. A great friend of mine and family. Anyhow, what he did say, he said that when Assassin's Creed, bloody hell, what was it called? Odyssey, excuse me. Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out, and he bought Pegasus. It was like, I don't know, $5 or $10 or whatever.
So did my friend.
Oh, okay, there you go. And so what you did is, if anybody knows Greek mythology, of course, Pegasus is a horse that could fly. And so he was able to fly from one area to another, and it saved him a ton of time. And he could fly across the map as opposed to finding a boat, getting in the boat, sailing on the boat, you know what I mean? Going to a different island and then getting off. So he could just fly to different locations around the map. That's not egregious. That's just a choice. Like you choose to do something that, A, it was fun, and B, it just was faster for you. That's not, you know what I mean? That's not egregious. And I understand from Dragon's Dogma, you can get those crystals to fast travel and all that stuff, but you had the choice to buy it.
You can buy them in game, or there was both.
Yeah, there was a bit of both, but it's fine if they dialed it back just a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so if they dial it back just a little bit, they're like, all right, we heard you. So now they drew a new line that they know not to cross, and it's fine. But like I said, I don't fault them for putting something in there to get that. Remember we talked about that near $100 is what these games should be charging at this point. They're finding ways to do it in a creative way so that they're not scaring off or pissing off the customer. And like I said, there's these kind of microtransactions. I'll call them this will fit in with the SJWs, microaggression transactions. Or a microaggression transaction. That's what I'm going to term it now, because it's not really like in your face, but it's there. And the other one is the FOMO microtransaction,
for sure.
Which is the early access, right? Pay an extra $25. You can play it 3 days early, and the developer gets their $100 per game, right? So, it's the cost of business, and it's what's going to happen. Or the alternative, which is going to happen anyway, is they're going to start raising the prices another $10
of games.
So that's 100%, 100%, or the industry is going to collapse upon itself. The other thing is that they're not hitting Americans with it so much as they are the rest of the world is paying the price for it.
Yeah.
Right. So like I said, like in Canada, Canada, Australia, a lot of parts of Europe, you're paying upwards of $100 a game already, while you guys are paying 70. Right. And so like, what the hell? You know what I mean? Well, what are we doing? Everborn Saga posted something. Shout out to Everborn Saga. And he posted the ROG Ally $299 on sale, right? In the US, Best Buy. In Canada, it's on sale for $660. Like the same model.
The base model, basically. I saw that model for $550. How in the world is they selling it for $300?
Yeah, it was $299 at Best Buy. I think it was like a flash sale or something. I don't know. He posted it today, and that's interesting because you know what that brought on? A conversation about the Xbox handheld. What we talked about last week being a little bit too expensive, or at least the thought of it being too expensive that it may not sell as well. But that's another story. So in Canada, the same model on sale is $660 if you include tax. That's ridiculous. So we're paying the price.
Yeah.
For the United States. And so is the rest of the world is paying the price to make up for, the United States not charging as much. However, the interesting thing is that the majority of the consumers are in the United States. So I guess they're trying to appease that you know what I mean? Like that country, your country, the country. I mean, they got 330 million. There's only 33 million of us in Canada. So it's like we kind of, you know what I mean? We don't have the kind of consumer base that you have. You literally have 10 times the population. And therefore, they have to keep the prices down a little bit there.
I think Xbox should heavily slash the price in Europe we talked last week about how they were down 47%. I think it was even the week before. Like take your price hit in Europe and try to get some ground. But there's a lot we have to say about why that console isn't selling. So anyway, I don't know. We kind of got off topic, but I think we covered the Dragon's Dogma stuff. People are well into it. And if anybody wants to know, yes, it's a really great game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm probably got 5 hours plus and I'll be done with it. I'm glad I'm playing it. It's really good. We got a super chat that actually covers that. Fantasticals, what a great name. With the €2 super chat. Says, Dragon's Dogma 2, more like Pawn Hub. Am I right, guys? The pawns are great in the game. I ran around with a Randall Thor character that was on in some of these clips that belongs to Jez for a really long time. If the pawns are down or you lose them, you feel it because you feel like they're part of your crew. So they did a great job. I think it's great. Yeah.
So if they mess up, is it considered a Ponzi scheme? Sorry, it was right there for the taking. The other thing I was going to say, the Randall Thor character. I'm assuming the camera's off for the Randall Thor character.
Yeah. If you try to turn the camera towards the Randall Thor character, he just starts to disappear into the bushes. And
it just shows an icon of Randall Thor. It doesn't show his. Yes.
Speaking of Randall Thor, today he said he went to check out your. He's been on PlayStation playing Final Fantasy. He said he went to check out your trophy list, and you have it privated. I go, well, he's got like 1 million trophies, but
I private.
I don't know. That's what he said. Maybe he didn't find you right. Well, I don't know what you want on PlayStation. Tell the good people. Are you I am the mag on both?
I am the mag on both, all capital letters.
Yeah. Well, just so you know that, guys, that means that mag has blocked Rand on PSN, which
what I did is when the PS5 came out, I started over again. I literally scrapped my old accounts, everything else, because I was having trouble with them, and things got convoluted with like the family, like the family thing and all that stuff. And I had my son under there because my son was only like 5 years old when I first did it, and I'm like, this is a mess. So he got a whole new account. I got a whole new account. I just started from the scratch, and I just started with I am the mag with 0 trophies. And so far in 3 years, I've got 32 platinums. Not bad.
Yeah, that's
32 platinums and well over a couple of thousand trophies in general. So, and then on the Xbox side, creeping in on 400,000 achievements. So, yeah, doing well on both. But I'm going to double check I'll do it now. I'm going to double check my security settings and open it up so people can see. Because I thought it was open. I might have made it private by accident. So I'm going to take a look at it. Make sure I unprivate it so Rand can spy on me, and maybe we can have a little bit of a trophy competition. Mind you, you
will win because he only plays the select exclusives there, kind of the way I do. Let me see how much footage is left here. Looks like 4 more minutes left of this exclusive. 4 more minutes left of this footage. I don't know what you guys think of Dragon's Dogma. I will say that the 30 FPS. Oh well, I don't know what it is. So I feel bad. It's fine.
In 30 FPS.
It should be at 60. Like you look at the visuals, you're like, this game should run at 60, but it doesn't. But the things you can do, like if you saw just a moment ago, I picked up a barrel and threw it at the griffin or whatever that was and caught it on fire. And it's really cool. You can jump on and climb them, and they'll shake you off, or they'll back slam you, or butt slam you, or stomp you.
What?
It's just those words. Yeah, butt stomp, back stomp, and front stomp.
That's not what you said. Sorry, that might have been a Diddy reference. Anyways, yes, carry on.
Poor guy.
Sorry, I was just clearing my throat. Just clear my throat. I didn't say anything.
Yeah,
Relax.
Capone goes, Colt, why didn't you use your 3080? I was gonna. Yeah, that was the thing. So Gaz put out this great video. He installed Dragon's Dogma. We game share on Xbox. He made this video like in the middle of his first day of playing the game because he was so overwhelmed by how great he enjoyed it. So he made this video, and I watched it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to install it on Xbox and see if I like it. And then I couldn't stop playing. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to stay here. Instead of spending $70, it's already paid for. And I just kind of did that compromise. But, I mean, if 30 doesn't always destroy your brain and eyeballs, I don't know. It's just a good, fun game. Gameplay matters. This Final Fantasy VII Rebirth got me too busy to play anything else. And gameplay might be playing that on 30 on the PS5 as well, because Digital Foundry recommends to do so. That's all tech talk. That's all tech talk.
Tech talk or TikTok? There you go.
That's all TikTok and the tech talk. We got the white digital Xbox Series X leaked a few days ago. Xputer, a Brazilian Xbox YouTuber, this is all coming off the top of my head for my remembrance, leaked a picture, a really low-grade, pixelated, low-resolution image of 3 angles of this white Series X in rectangular prism form. A rectangle instead of the cylindrical form, which was something that we thought was part of the 2023 leaks. I guess this thing possibly exists, Meg?
Those pictures. I've seen clearer pictures of Bigfoot posted in newspapers, National Enquirer. But this one was pretty close.
There's not much difference between this and Bigfoot.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't see what... Like, I mean, could you doctor that photo? Sure. But why would you bother? You know what I mean? Like, why would you even bother, like, doctoring a photo like that or whatever?
I don't think it would be doctored. I would see if somebody, like, 3D printed a shell and kind of made it good enough.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it looked pretty legit. And it did. I did. You know what I did check for to see if it was a wrap. You know, like those wraps that you could buy for the thing, and it wasn't a wrap. So I'm like, okay, well maybe it's a real.
Did you get out your monocle?
Yeah, my Monopoly monocle, and I pulled it. The Mr. Peanut monocle, I pulled it out. And then you know what I realized after I stared at the picture for a while. I didn't really care because I'm not buying one. My give a crap meter was like a 2 out of 10 because I'm like, who cares? I mean, it's fine for people who don't have it, which is a lot of people, I guess.
Yeah.
But I already have a Series X. I'm not buying another one. So like, I looked at it. I'm like, okay, it could be legit. And I'm like, I'll just wait for Microsoft to say something because I already have a Series X, and I had never used. The funny thing is, I've never used the disk drive.
I know. So you're like, oh, great. It's got one less thing that I wasn't using and doesn't do much else. Anyway. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
Yeah, the only place I played physical games because I can get them for cheap is our PS5 games I get physical. Right? Because I can get them at GameStop or whatever for like 50, 60% off or whatever if I want to get like, whatever game it is. But on the Xbox side of things, they've really geared towards that digital market, especially with Game Pass and all that stuff, which, I don't subscribe to anymore. However, even the games that I do buy piecemeal, I buy them. So digitally, right? So I've never used the disk drive. I bet you if I put something in there, like the cobwebs will probably spit it out. You know what I mean? It's
so funny because the only thing I've used, Mag, is the disk drive to watch the Lord of the Rings extended versions. That Hargeet sent me. So yeah, I haven't really.
By the way, if you have those, you have to get, of course, the extended edition of all, like the director's extended cuts of all 6 films in 4K Blu-ray.
I do. Thanks to Hargeet Chani.
Holy crap! It's a whole different experience.
Yeah, even playing Dragon's Dogma, I was like, I kind of want to go back and watch those, even though I did last year in its entirety. Oh, they're so good. They're so good. So I don't know what else to say about the Digital Series X other than maybe it still exists. Maybe they got a picture of the prototype that they scrapped last year. Maybe. Right. But I'm also wouldn't be surprised, Mag, if they announced this thing at the summer showcase. Like a little 20-second trailer spinning around the 3D model of a white Series X. That's, I would predict $500 standard dollars for the US. It would be the same price as the launch Series X because it would have 1.5 terabytes, like 50 more gigs, like they did with the digital or the other one Series. I can't even, whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
a little more storage, and then they put it at the same price. But Xbox is already losing money on those things.
Yeah,
I don't know. Is that the end of the story for the Series X? I bet we're going to hear about it more.
That's what I'm saying. Like for me, like I said, I was kind of looking into it. I saw the pictures and this and that. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And then when I looked at it, and I'm like, well, okay, they haven't said anything officially, and it doesn't affect me at all because I'm not buying one. So I'm just like, all right, well, we'll just wait for them to say something, and then we'll turn that into a news story, like a more in-depth news story or whatever, when Microsoft does or does not announce it, because it's not guaranteed. So,
hey, Fonz, you know what I mean? I'm gonna put a pull up. Go ahead.
You're putting on a pull up, like diaper.
Mommy, wow! I'm a big kid now. Do you care about the Xbox Series X digital console?
I would imagine a lot of people that are in this chat probably already own a Series console. Otherwise, they wouldn't be listening to a show called XNC. So odds are pretty good they're not trading in anything to go buy that. What the hell for, right? So I would imagine, my guess is that no is. I was going to say, I would guess that the no's are probably going to be pretty high.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
There was the rumor that this new haptics-based controller that would probably be somewhere in the $80 range, if you buy it separate, would be packed in with this console to help push the console. That'd be really smart for Xbox to say, hey, it's digital and it's got a little more storage, but it also comes with the brand new controller. If you don't want to go buy that, you have a whole new console. Maybe you're wearing the silicon out of your Series X like I am. I'm always running this thing so hot. I play Fortnite with my kids, or I was playing, I think it was Dragon's Dogma or some other game that really spins the fan up, and maybe you're going to, melt the thing right into a puddle of plastic, but I don't know. Yeah, 81%, 80% say no, Mag.
Yeah, there's no point. There really is no point.
Let's get into the meat of it, Mag. Let's talk about
Sure.
Matt Booty and Phil Spencer have been asked to answer for the recent struggles of Xbox, dealing with the news of changing in the business and the business making changes for the platform, exclusivity becoming a different type of beast or a different animal. And on this, Sarah Bond has shared a picture of her in studio, and Phil has said some things about being in studio as well. I think we are on the precipice of yet another Xbox business update, part due, and possibly something in concert with the ABK acquisition that closed over 6 months ago. Meg, what do you think about the possibility of Phil, Sarah, and Matt Booty sitting down together to talk about Xbox going forward with new changes, plus their business venture with Activision and Blizzard and King now in their pocket?
Didn't they kind of already start this in January when they had the Apology Tour 2024?
The Apology? Wait, what? What was the Apology Tour in January?
I don't know. I just call that. When they did the damage control interview, the staged interview. You know what I mean, with the
podcasters.
The podcaster one with the pre. They kind of did that already, but they were sort of so vague about it that I just don't. I was just like, okay, this was to me, it was nothing really, and it didn't really address too much, and I get why, because they can't discuss all their business dealings, live on the air to everybody. That's not how it works. I get that. However, I could see them going a little bit more in depth once they get the ball rolling on what they're actually doing. I'm sure their ball is already well rolling. It's just they're not going to tell us until, the general public until a little bit later when it's already established and they're like, okay, this is the direction we're going, this is what we're doing, and this and that. But the thing is, there does seem to be this sentiment, this public sentiment out there, and I'm not trying to be, I'm really not trying to be a Debbie Downer here, but I'm just saying the public sentiment out there is like, people are just like, I just don't care anymore. Just execute something, anything. And this is not just coming from me. Yes, that's my feeling. That's the way I feel. But the thing is, you see it and you hear it out there in the wild when you put your ear to the ground. And like I said, not an echo chamber. It really is not. And I'm really trying to stay positive with it.
You really have tried to make sure it's not like one location of talk on the internet.
Yeah, no, I listen to everybody. And so the thing is, you hear it across the board from like fans, from live chats, from super chats to other podcasts, big and small. I even listen to podcasts. By the way, I even listen to podcasts with like 10 people in it, like in the chat. I listen to those people. You know why? Because I want to hear what all different facets are saying about whatever, whether it's Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. But let's face it, the majority of the conversation is Xbox everywhere. Like, everybody's talking about Xbox, good or bad, mostly not great. But the thing is, I think people are at the point where they're like, you know what? Enough with the direction. This is the future. This is what we're doing. This is what's happening. This is our direction. We're changing direction. People are like, we don't care anymore. Give us what we're paying for. We bought into your ecosystem. We're paying for, well, not we, but a lot of people are paying for Game Pass. A lot of people are invested. I have thousands of games on my Xbox ecosystem that I've purchased. Okay, thousands, because I've been in the ecosystem for 20 effing years. So don't come, people don't come at me and saying I'm a fraud or nothing, okay? Because I got it. I got the pedigree and the backup, 20 years and thousands of games. But there comes a point where people are like, listen, man, we've invested. We don't care about what new hardware, new this, new direction, new that. Just give us great games, man. Just give us great experience that we can play, and let's go from there. You see what's been happening this year, and like I said, Look what's been happening. Everybody's saying, 2024 is Xbox's year. It's April. And nothing from January 1st to April 1st, which is today, exactly 4 months, there's not been one Xbox release.
Yeah.
And it's been literally
not one Game Pass, like Game Pass highlight. Like we got this for Game Pass.
MLB The Show, I guess, could be one. But if you look at everything else, everything else has been PlayStation. So the year that PlayStation was supposed to have nothing, and this is supposed to be Xbox's year, it is directly the opposite. What's everybody talking about? Final Fantasy VII. And it doesn't matter whether PlayStation made them or not. You can only play them there.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah, I agree. It doesn't matter if they're first party or not.
Helldivers, which was a lucky. I don't know, man. I never would have put my money on that being huge, but it is. Pal World did really good for Xbox for a while there, but it was there and like people are still playing, but
they just they just had an announcement today that 97% of the players have dropped off on Steam.
That makes sense because as soon as
we all hit it hard for a good month, but what else can you do? It's a game. That's how games are like that.
I saw 5 seconds of gameplay and went nope, and that was it. I was done. But that's what's been happening. So when people are saying they keep seeing these articles, these interviews, these podcasts, these whatever, and it's just nothing after nothing. Yeah, okay, there's stuff coming up. We get it. But you have to look at the reality of the last 4 months. And beyond that, it's not like they had anything in December. And you know what I mean? In November. So you're looking at it and just going, oh my God, what is, you know what I mean? People are tired of
Let me clarify what Mag is saying, because I think he's doing a really good job of saying what he has to say, and it's not doom and gloom. And I'm breaking it down while you're talking. Mag's not talking about the doom and gloom. What Mag's talking about is what one of my good friends, I'm not gonna name them. They said, sometimes I wish Phil and the other people would just stop talking. Stop doing interviews. Just put the games out. And what Mag and I have been talking about on the show a lot, and I'm right with you, Mag, and a lot of people in the chat are like, Mag's on point, like Facts Mag, like almost everybody. Everybody is. They're being cool. Thank you for that, by the way. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. We're going to get into the weeds about this, what's going on, and some things that Phil said and Matt Booty said. I've been calling this, because I didn't see this before. Meg, I've been calling this like the tap dancing, the old soft shoe, if I'm going to use a really old reference, like something that from our grandpa's time. It's the old song and dance, the dog and pony show. And I'll make a couple offensive remarks about like, hey, look, we've got this we're branding with nail polish, and over the years, we're branding with body wash, we're branding with the American Girl doll, we're putting out several controllers. It's all this song and dance, like boo, hey, because they don't have games. The weird thing is, I think I might have been in this speech last week, you go back to 2018 when they started buying Playground, Ninja Theory, Undead Labs, and we're like, all right, the games are coming. All right, here comes the games. And if you look back 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 6 years, if you look back 6 years, what are the big games we have to show for it that are unique to the Xbox platform? Well, it really isn't a whole lot. It's really kind of sobering that Phil has gone on all these interviews. He's gone on there and he's stuck his neck out and he's protected his brand to say all these things when they just haven't quite delivered yet. And those 6 years, Mag, I've had a really good time playing those games, even if they were on PlayStation first, or if they were going to go to PlayStation eventually. None of that matters. We've all enjoyed games that are great. And we've enjoyed some games that people said weren't amazingly incredible. Xbox just needs to, look, I'm just going to say what Mag says. Consistently put out great games. Put out great games that are consistently great. I think that's your quote. I love that quote.
It's got to be a consistent amount of compelling software. That's my mantra. And the thing is, you can't do one and then have 3 duds in a row and then have one and have 3 duds. You will not gain momentum. The momentum only comes and the narrative will change with a consistent release of great titles that people want to play. I'm not saying now, if you actually look back, and now I'm gonna take this in a different direction here, is that if you actually look back at the games that Xbox has released this generation, most have rated very high on Metacritic. It's just nobody's playing them, right? Halo Infinite had a great score. Forza Horizon 5 had a fantastic score. Flight Simulator had an unbelievable score. Psychonauts 2 had an unbelievable score. What else was there? There was a bunch. I'll just name those. Gears 5 also had a great score. People played them for a bit, and then that's it. And they were dead. And they were just dead in the water. And then that doesn't include the crap games like Redfall.
The failures.
Forza Motorsport.
Even all great games have their life of I would say that most great games, if they're not service-based, have their great 3 weeks. Their amazing 3 weeks of great life with a lot of players, like whether it be a big game from like God of War Ragnarok had a great 3 week run, and then it quiets down. And even if it's just small like Psychonauts. Psychonauts had a great 3 weeks where everybody was talking about the game, and that's okay. But you're waiting too long for games on Xbox.
Yes. And the thing is, a lot of it doesn't reach the zeitgeist of the public. That's what I'm getting at. Like, the people on the other side of the pond are not all sitting around talking about Microsoft Flight Simulator, right? No. I understand what kind of a game that is and whatever else, or Grounded and things like that. And I'm not taking away from the quality of those games at all. I'm really not. But the thing is, it has to be a combination of excellent quality game and something that grabs the public and something that becomes a phenomenon. Like, for example, you look at like the last 2 months, well, 6 weeks, let's say, Helldivers was on the tip of everybody's tongue up until Dragon's Dogma came out, right? It was the talk of the town. And the funny thing is, you still see people buying the game on a daily basis. It keeps growing and growing and growing, that the servers are still, 2 months later, are still having trouble trying to keep up with all the new players coming in. That's the kind of stuff you need. And the reason why is because then you have people from the other side going, yo, what's the buzz going on over there at Xbox?
Yeah, PlayStation didn't do that. To be fair, PlayStation didn't do that. PlayStation didn't make Helldiver. Like, I think they were so... Well, I mean, I'm making a joke. Like, they probably thought, man, I really hope this looks solid. It looks like a lot of people will love it. I'm sure they were just as shocked as the biggest diehard fans or even somebody who'd make fun of them are. Because Helldivers just continue... Like you said, it's still on the Steam charts. It's still selling really well. And... let me play devil's advocate for what we said over the past 5 minutes, is that you were talking about all these great games that Xbox has had this generation. They have had, like, most of their games have done really well aside from a few flops like Redfall and Forza Motorsport. Right. Sorry. That one's kind of, that's a personal way I feel about that game. But when I look at that, when I think back mentally of the grid of games that have come out, you know, there's like a bunch at the end of the year and then a couple in the spring, and then you have all of 22 and 23 that were almost barren without Xbox games. Like, if I look at everything that's come out, like, all those are really highly scored. They're right along PlayStation. They're 1% lower than PlayStation in their quality rating, but there's less games, and they've too many long... I want to have a whole discussion about how you picture a calendar month, but I picture it in like a track and field thing. Too many long bends around the bend from spring to the end of summer before holiday, where there's nothing to play on Xbox. Where PlayStation, for the most part, right now, make no mistake, PlayStation is in their crisis of content moment right now. Their first party has nothing to reveal until the summer showcase. I hope they do. I'm sure they will. They have to. What else are they doing? But they're also running into, all we've got right now is these Marvel games. We'll just reskin for Venom. We'll reskin for Wolverine. That's not true. It's kind of its own thing. We're just going to make a bunch of Marvel games because we're just going to work Insomniac down to the nubs of their fingers because we don't know what to put out, because we tried to make games as service games. We've canceled a bunch of them. We've sidelined and shelved some games that have not even been announced, so nobody knows about that. Right now, if you're Xbox or you're PlayStation or you're a multi-platform developer, times are tough. And gosh dang it, Xbox has had too many times to make excuses.
Yeah, and the thing is, you say times are tough, and you're right. However, the only talk that's been going on from January till April has been PlayStation. It doesn't help that times are tough, and you couple it with the fact that you've released nothing. And then we're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything until Hellblade in May. So now
in a month and a half. Yeah,
you're going to go another 7 weeks with nothing again, while you have Dragon's Dogma is everywhere, but the majority of the players are playing on PlayStation. You have Final Fantasy VII, which a lot of people, I haven't played it yet, but a lot of people are talking about already Game of the Year up against Dragon's Dogma. It's going to be a Japanese game. It's going to be a Japanese year for Game of the Year, right? Because, I mean, you've got Capcom and you've got Square, no pun intended, squaring off against each other this year for early part of Game of the Year, right? So if you look at it,
oh my gosh, we're old.
You know what I mean? But that's what it is. And so that's what people are talking about.
This is the year of Japanese and Eastern development games that are dominating the market, which we'll talk about toward the end of the show.
And then you've got Stellar Blade coming out and everything else, right? So, and you had, Rise of the Ronin, I don't think made much of a splash, but still it was there. And then you've got Stellar Blade coming out.
That horse, Mag.
That horse was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, last night I had the casita burrito from Taco Bell with the chips and nacho cheese, and by the end of the night, I was that horse from Rise of the Ronin. I was literally too hot to trot.
Yeah, no kidding. That's the kind of game I'll buy. Like if it's like, you know what, I wouldn't even buy it. You know what's going to happen? They're going to put it on PS Plus by next year. Watch. It'll be for free by next year, so I'm not even going to bother.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm actually shocked that Forspoken hasn't shown up as a PS Plus game. You know what I mean?
Hasn't yet? Shout out to over 940 people, almost 950 people watching the show. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. Mag and I know we sound doom and gloom. You have to understand that some of this is stuff that Mag and I have to make. We have to make sure that we're speaking that constructive criticism, because I could sit here and say Xbox games suck. I could sit here and say that they don't know how to run games business. Some of the stuff that Xbox does, I don't feel very confident about. Other things, which we'll get into here in the midway part of the show, Gaz from Septic Sauce was in the chat here a second ago. He had a great back and forth with Destin and Gary where Gaz like, they're really leaving the console market behind and they need to push and they need to dominate and compete. And Destin and Gary's stance is like, they're changing the game where they're going to be bigger in different ways. And I watched both of them have this really good, friendly debate. They're having a good informational debate, just a really good discussion. And I was watching that going, man, these two are nailing it on both sides. So there's more to this discussion. I know people have been doing the doom and gloom, but Meg and I are just saying, you've got these great games. We already know Avowed's going to be pretty good. Hellblade's going to be really good. Indie and The Great Circle is going to be really good. Machine Games is awesome. But gosh, we don't even have a release date. So the waiting is just, it compounds and exacerbates, right? Where you're like, I know you got the games. You got 35 studios. Why are we waiting almost 6 years for them to finally just funnel in? The wait just kind of feels...
Well, it doesn't help when you're waiting 6 years. I mean, I understand there was a pandemic sort of smacked in the middle of that. However, I'm not going to make excuses for any of that. But the thing is, what's also happens is that it compounds expectation. And that's where there's a problem, where if you're waiting 5 years, 6 years, 7 years for whatever games...
And we're old, right? Read what Papa Baco just wrote. He tagged me. It's like 6 up.
Yeah, I see you. Look like grumpy old man.
He says you guys look like grumpy old man. You might as well sound like him too. Yeah, I know.
Thanks, Papa Paco.
We're old. Hey. We were born in the 1920s, so waiting for games takes forever. I mean, we were playing them on an old style rail. Check out this game, see? This is a good game, see?
Yeah. So let me go get a pack of cigarettes and then I have some red meat on that. See, we're gonna put that on top of my video game. See. Now the thing is, like I said, it compounds expectation.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, if anybody else doesn't understand what I'm trying to say here, is that when you're waiting 4, 5, 6, 7 years for something, you're gonna think that it's gonna be the second coming of Christ. It's like I always say this is the Star Wars effect.
That does happen too.
You know what I mean? I say this is the Star Wars effect, not Disney Star Wars, not that trash. I'm talking about George Lucas trash. So the original trilogy came out, right? And then there was like a 17-year gap between that and Episode 1.
Oh man, Phantom Menace better just blow my face off my skull. Right. We lined up around the theater. Go ahead.
3 days. I was outside for 3 days waiting to go see the movie. But here's the thing. Yeah, right. And Lucas said in an interview, he says, no matter what I do, no matter how great I make it, there's no way I can meet anybody's expectation because, you know what I mean? Like it's impossible. So that waiting, it just increases to a point that is unrealistic.
It's so funny because we played like 20 Star Wars games in between the Return of the Jedi to the Phantom Menace. Like we had these expectations of how amazing a 1999 Star Wars game could be, or movie.
And then you get a movie. But then if you get Xbox that has a game, and like for example, Compulsion's been working on this game. I've been looking forward to that for like 6 years. Yeah. If this game doesn't absolutely slap, then we're gonna have a problem here, because people are gonna be like, "Yo, I'm not waiting a decade to play something that's okay." So you know what happens? People say, listen, no harm, no foul. I'm just not going to play here. I'm just going to go over there. You call me when you have some awesome stuff. Get on the horn. Dial the phone, like a 1930s phone. You crank the thing, and then you put it on your ear and say, hi, we finally have some great games. You could come back now. And that's why there's a mass exodus, and that's why people are lost interest, because it's too few and far between. And the problem is that people are like, okay, you know what, man? I'm done waiting. I'm just going to go elsewhere, and I'm going to play great games, whether it's third party, whether it's exclusive on another system, or I'm going to go play on PC where I have options of Steam. They can basically handpick from Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, right? And do whatever. And so that's what people are doing. And that's why people are walking away. They're like, okay, listen, man, we know you got some great stuff, but we're tired of waiting. And that's another thing I've been hearing a lot of. I'm tired of waiting. And that's why people are just kind of wandering away, and they're lost interest, because they're just like, you know what I mean? It's like a guy, it's like you're at a carnival and you're watching a guy juggle bowling pins, and after a few minutes you're like, all right, okay.
Do something. Well, part of it's my fault.
Call me when you start sword swallowing like a flaming sword or something. They're like, all right, I'll come back to you when you do something more interesting. And that's what's happened.
Hey, if you're an entertainer, you start to see the crowd start to leave. You got to start mixing it up a little bit and kind of keep people excited. But also Xbox can't just like shove a game out because it's been too long. No. And then it sucks. So we hear that. Like, where's this chat? In the chat, so we got Julian Johnson says, how impatient y'all with games when y'all probably backlogged to the ceiling? I don't get it. Yeah, I agree. And part of it's my fault. Once or twice a year, as things update, I make a video about what Xbox has in the works and what games are coming, which ones will probably be announced or revealed at the next showcase. And then half of those games just never materialize, or not materialize, but never make a showing at the showcase, or are so far away. And I remember Christopher Dring in 2020 or 2021 did an article and said that Xbox's biggest games are years away. And I thought, years away? How could it be? Never did I think back then in 2021, we're just, a year into the pandemic, that games would not take 3 years, they take 6 years. So yeah, I understand that.
Well, I mean, if you knew who I am, if you know the way I game, I'm playing games from 2 years ago because I'm getting through my backlog.
Yeah.
So, but what you're not getting here is that this is a show. We're talking about and we're using our observations as what we see, what's going out in the gaming world. It's not me personally.
It's not just us. Matt and Phil really are saying it too.
Yeah, I don't really care. They could take 9 years for Compulsion game, whatever. Because I've got all these other games I'm going to play. I'm talking about.
You're the anti-FOMO guy, by the way.
Yeah. I used to be FOMO, and now I'm anti-FOMO because I'm like, this is just stupid. What am I doing? However, what I'm trying to do is I'm literally just trying to mirror what I'm observing, and that's what I'm seeing out there in the public. So people can say, "Oh, Mag's a this, and Mag's a that, Mag's a pony, Mag's a this, Mag's that." It's not Mag. You guys are missing the point. It's the millions and millions and millions of people out there who are not touching this stuff. Those are the people that I'm literally just looking at, and I'm reporting it right here. And so you see those things, and that's what's happening. And like, there's a super chat coming up. You'll read it about Game Pass and indies and stuff like that, right? And things of that nature. Those are things too that it's just, I get it. I understand how people feel or whatever. But the majority of the people are feeling a completely separate way. And like, for example, look at this year. Look at 2024. You've got Hellblade, you've got Indiana Jones, and you've got Avowed, right? Coming out. And Call of Duty. You can count Call of Duty as well. Mm-hmm. Assuming that the new Call of Duty is going to be day and date on Game Pass. He said...
I think so.
He didn't specifically say this year's Call of Duty. He just said, he says, we're hoping, was the exact word. Whatever the hell that means. But the thing is...
You run Xbox!
I know, like we're hoping. Did you have to ask somebody else? Okay, guys.
Yeah,
so,
I know.
Like, you know what I mean? So, but those games, if all four of those games land, okay, and everybody's playing them, they end up in the Game of the Year conversation. And let's just say, okay, just for argument's sake,
well, I mean, let's just hope Call of Duty's better than last year's, and yeah.
Sure. Let's say it's the Game Awards in December, and it's Dragon's Dogma versus Avowed. Can you imagine? And like everybody's talking about those games. So let's say all 4 of those games hit and they're great. Excellent start. That's your building blocks for the foundation of a great future. Now 2025, you got to do it again. And then 2026, you got to do it again. And then people will start looking at you again. I swear to God, I know it sounds crazy and it sounds over the top, but that's how long it takes to change the tides. It does not happen with one game. It does not happen with 2 games. It's going to take 8, 9, 10 games for people to go, what the hell's going on over there?
Okay, well, I'm gonna wash away any of the perceived doom and gloom, as Mag and I have talked about this, right? Yeah, I know and I know that the chat's really chill right now as I keep an eye on it. Like, and I agree with some of the complaints because we're right in agreement with them. I'll wash away some of the doom and gloom to say, Phil Spencer's quote when he said, what we're doing is for the betterment of the Xbox brand going forward. Make no mistake and listen closely, because PlayStation is in a crisis of content, like I said earlier today. They're in a crisis right now where they have to make sure that they can deliver. They're trying to deliver on games as a service and push their games more multi-platform. They are also having a really difficult time as one of the market leaders of the consoles. PlayStation 5 is doing great, but they're still having a hard time. So Xbox is just behind them like they are. Some of the things that Phil Spencer plans to do may seem unorthodox for what we've known over 40 years, but imagine a future where Xbox has opened up their platform a little bit. They're on every screen. Some games are on PlayStation. Keep this in mind. Some games are on PlayStation, but they've opened themselves up to every device that's not a direct competitor. And then all of a sudden you hear, just imagine this, Mag, that you hear in 2025 or so, let's just say 2025, you hear Xbox is now the leading profit and revenue leader in gaming right now across multiple devices with their first-party content. Call of Duty, Minecraft. Their big new heavy-hitting games are doing well because they're scoring well, and they're being played by more people because they're available to more people in more ways than ever before. This is the reality that Destin's trying to explain. Jez is trying to explain it. I'm trying to understand it. So we can check the doom and gloom at the door because there's nothing left but for these games to release. Matt Booty said that the multi-platform talk has stressed the brand but not damaged it. Well, I don't know, because I only see like this hyper-focused like funnel of discussion happening on a couple different places. But I think for the masses, maybe it hasn't really hurt the brand. But you and I've heard, Mag, you talked about earlier in the show, that a lot of people are talking like, I'm kind of tired of waiting. But it's okay if you go, I'm just going to build a PC and play Xbox's games there. I think Xbox has been telling us that for a decade. Isn't that weird?
That's not gonna be the norm, and it's not gonna be the norm because of the price point. And I know people. There's always gonna be that one guy that says, "Oh, I could build a PC for $500 or $600 or whatever, and that could play these games." A lot of people that are buying these systems, buying consoles, or whatever, are not gonna sit around with a screwdriver and a pair of pliers and build their own PC. You know what I mean? Build their own PC, have no knowledge of what's going on, no knowledge of what they're doing.
Pair of channel locks.
Yeah, like they're not going to be making this stuff themselves. Then that doesn't include the tweaking of the games, figuring out this.
You can buy a pre-build for a couple $100 extra bucks, and it saves you the time.
Then no one's going to do that because people. That's all crap. No one's going to go out and buy an $800, $900 pre-built PC for their 8-year-old kid. It's never going to happen. Well, not never. It's rarely going to happen. The majority of the people there are people that do that. Obviously, there are kids out there that play PC and everything else. But the thing is, it's a price point issue, and that's why your Nintendo Switches still sell like gangbusters. Well, after they should have stopped selling, but they're still selling. And consoles will always be on the market because it's a cheaper alternative than having to build your own PC and get into that space. I don't want to get into a game and have to fart around with sliders and this and that and all this other crap to play a game. No, I want to turn the damn thing on by my controller, sit down on the couch, and that's it. And just play the game. I don't care. I just want it to perform a certain way, preferably. But and then be able to pick whether it's fidelity or whether it's performance mode and that kind of thing. And that's basically it. That's the only slider I want to do.
That is much easier. Here is my ROG Ally I just got last week, and I'm trying to set this thing up before I go on my trip.
Sure.
And it's a PC, and I know how to install games. Of course. I mean, whatever. I know how to work through Windows. But this thing, sometimes I'm just like, do something. Install. Download. What are you doing? That's just part of the PC quirks. Things don't always work exactly
No, and I'm not.
how you
I'm
want.
not saying it's not. I'm not saying anything against the PC community or the PC ecosystem. I'm just saying the average Joe Schmo is not going to adopt that at all.
Console's always easier. Yeah.
Console and cloud is going to still be the future. PC will always be there and always have a monster following because a lot of people are like, oh, there's like still 100 million people. Yeah, half of those people are from the Asian countries anyway. We're also forgetting that. You know what I mean? A lot of the other countries that are playing like League of Legends and all that other stuff or whatever, that makes up the majority of the PC gaming world. That does not translate to what we're doing over here in the Western countries. Some of it is, yes, but it's still about 50-50 draw with what's going on and especially in the Southeast Asian countries. So you look at that. Now, the thing is, again, I think that if it's going to be console until cloud gets off the ground, and it's going to take a long time for that to happen. So consoles aren't going anywhere for at least another 2 generations. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's going to change. No one can change my mind on that because, like I said, the majority of the people, not the 15% listening to this podcast, the 85% of the people out there are not interested in any of that stuff. They're just interested. Buy, turn on, play. That's all they want to do.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's the majority of the people. They're the silent majority.
You're right, because you can definitely put your PC in the corner of your room or your extra room with your monitor set up. But the people who want to say, I don't want to get a console, but I want to play on my living room with a big TV that's mounted up on the wall or on the entertainment center. The issue is most people would not buy a gaming PC or build one and set it next to their pot planter next to their entertainment center. I think you should. Like if you put a PC, I've always had mine on TV. If you do that, it's amazing. But having the PC or an HDMI cable running all the way over to your TV where you watch your movies, it's awesome. It's awesome. But Mag's right. Most people are not going to think PC connected to family TV, best gaming experience ever, even though I think it could be. They normally don't do that. Now, if you have a dedicated gaming space, you can do whatever you want. So there's so much stuff I want to cover. I want to grab a couple super chats because Meg and I have been weaving in and out of the topics. I want to talk about the new Xbox handheld, but more so about Phil saying he wants to bring PC integration or Windows integration on the console. We've touched on that a little bit. A little more news is coming, some information about that. I want to get into that, but I also need to cover what Phil is doing because VGC reported that Phil Spencer is the savior of the brand only to wait 10 years to kill it. I want to break that down. That was a really that was a really unhappy and griefing article from a games journalist who seems to know quite a bit more about building a multi-million-dollar gaming platform than Phil and his team do. Some of it I agree with, some I don't. We're going to get into that. I also want to talk about Certain Affinity and Xbox's releases forward and kind of what's been going on with PlayStation. Not the multi-platform stuff. I'll cover it. There's a lot, okay? There's a lot. We got Yoda is alive. Yoda is alive. Thank you for becoming an early access channel member. Welcome to the channel member. You'll get early access for videos and other things. Cure for Knowledge, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Cure says if they charge $150 a game, they would still have microtransactions because publishers are greedy. Recently this week, CD Projekt Red, who make The Witcher and Cyberpunk, said microtransactions do not belong in single player games. It's nice to hear somebody big in the industry make that stance. Danny Patches Official, thank you for the $2. Says, don't buy PC Dragon's Dogma 2 on my 4090. I had drops to 30. Yeah, they fixed the game post for the patch, so it runs better in the city. But even on a 4090, Fawn's gaming was, and I've been talking a lot while we play it, he got the occasional drops, but it's much better. That game's just got a weird CPU limitation problem, no matter where you are. Bit Fernaldi, a channel member for 12 months, says, never used a disk drive on Xbox. I have a 4 terabyte external. Anyway, I dip early. Elite 8 games starting soon. Catch the rest later. Hit that like button. Yes, hit the like button. You're having a good time. We are talking a million miles an hour. We got well over 800 people here, Maglodon. Shab's Inevitable with the $2 pound super chat says, here to say Kupo. Well, I hope it's okay that I said Kupo, but I said it twice.
I have no idea what that means, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
Kupo.
I hope we made you happy. I have no idea what it means, but yes.
Yeah. I mean, I could Google it, but we move on. Vaughn's Gaming says in the chat, Colt, did you get a Mountain Dew today? I got a little one. It was an Easter present, so I'm sipping on it very, very stringently. That's not the right word. Boner Jams with the $10 super chat says, this just in, Mag's new spokesperson for the Dreamcast, which has been resurrected this time in her Easter. At Colt Peter Northwood. Love the new contacts, bud. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you.
The decorator. Yes, Peter North. Yes, carry on. For those who know.
Does he look like me? Is he ugly?
No, you don't want to know anything beyond that. This is a PG show. We'll leave it to Google.
Okay, I just got a Norwegian cross-country skier, so I'm good. All right, where was I? We got David Leatherwood. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat and for supporting the show. We appreciate it. This is their 3-year anniversary of doing supers on podcasts. Thank you for doing that. He says, I think you guys are discounting all indie games on Game Pass. I can't keep up and having the time of my life. Yeah.
You know what? That's great. And I'm glad that you are having a good time because at the end of the day, I want gamers to have fun and have. I
don't care how big the game is either.
I'm happy to see that people are having a great time. That's all that matters to me, and that's all that should matter to you. What we're talking about is not us, not you specifically, and not even people in this chat. We're just talking about what we see in the grand landscape of this gaming world because we're checking the gaming news every single day, and we got our ear to the ground on all aspects, and we hear everything. So we're just reporting what we hear, and some of it is, some of it, of course, is what we feel. We're not stooges. We're not just sit there and just regurgitate information. However,
we are stooges, but
we are stooges. But I mean, I am specifically. But the thing is, we have our feelings and our thoughts and everything else on these things. But we're also trying to reflect what we see in the gaming community, and we comment on what we're observing is what's happening out there. And so, it like I said, for some people it sucks. For some people it doesn't. As long as you're having a great time, and I'm having a great time, and Colt and everybody else having a great time, playing where you want and how you want and what you're playing. Go for it, man. Go for it. Just have a great time. By the way, I just changed the settings on the PlayStation app. Someone go to my profile and see if you can see my trophies and just hit me up in the chat, and I'll see it there.
Okay, thank you. You know Rand's going to be on your case like as soon as possible. Hey, David.
What is that?
I want to add to that because Mag said it perfectly. You're not leaving the Xbox brand, David, because you're consistently happy and playing games and enjoying. I'm not leaving the Xbox ecosystem. Even when I'm waiting, I play all kinds of games. There's way more games I could be playing, but I'm not leaving because I'm waiting for games. Like, I already bought the console. What would I do? Sell it for $300, take a loss, and then throw all my library away? And I don't say that to be condescending. I mean, what you're saying is perfect. You're enjoying the game, so you're not going to leave. What Mag and I are trying to illustrate is there are a certain type of game, whether it be an indie or a massive AAA game, if it's really highly rated and popular, it grows the brand. Like a game like Hades is an indie, but it sold copies. And if it was an exclusive, it would sell that console. And if Xbox it doesn't matter if it's indie or it's AA or if it's AAA, when those games are good, they move the brand, they push forward, they get people on, they drive engagement, they sell consoles, they sell Game Pass subs, and that's where Xbox has not had. Like, I know earlier in the chat people were saying, well, what are they supposed to do? They're not going to just push out games. I'm like, yeah, absolutely, you're right. But when they're looking at this chart, when Matt Booty says, we've got an Excel spreadsheet that tells us how many games we have to make sure everything fits. I'm like, when you get into a year that you're looking at this gap because some games are being pushed, you need to, I don't know if it's Sarah Bond's, I think it's Sarah Bond's job. Sarah Bond should be like, hey, we've got nothing from January to May. Can we get something in February or April? Can we partner with something? At least throw it on Game Pass day and date and it launches on everywhere else? Or is there something? And I think that's something Xbox needs to stop being cheap and spend the extra money, because I think Tim Dog made this joke the other day, Mag. He said bookmark it. GTA 6 is going to be day and date on Game Pass. And I was like, that would probably cost Xbox $500 million to get that deal. But you know what? Sit back for a second, Mag, and think. If Grand Theft Auto is available on PS5 and Xbox Series consoles day and date, but it was also available on Game Pass, they spent $500 million. Would Game Pass subscribers spike with GTA 6 launching on there, even though it's available anywhere else?
That's tough because you know we're really going to get a litmus test of this. By the way, Chad, thank you very much for letting me know. The trophies are now public, and
Awesome.
some people, Fuzzy Belvedere, and some other people asking what my PSN is. It's I am the Mag, all capitals. And actually, I've had like 5 or 6 people just add me in the last like 10 minutes on both Xbox and PlayStation. The other thing is quickly.
Hold on, I got to interrupt you. Shout out to Fuzzy Belvedere, who I've met in person at FanFest a couple times, and he's super nice guy. So sorry, go ahead.
Yes,
I had to say
yes,
that.
he is. I've done a bunch of shows with Fuzzy. I was just going to say, don't add me as a close friend. I'll reject it only because my real name is on there because I game share with my family. So I'm not going to have my first name, last name, and all my information on there. So just add me as a regular friend, not a close friend. Because if you do close friend, all my information shows up. And
your underwear size.
And my underwear size and my bra size. So we're not gonna.
Here's Meg. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, shout out to the Longhouse Gaming Podcast, also run by the Black Viking. We've been chatting a lot lately. He's in the chat. He said that GTA 6 deal for Game Pass, if that was a real thing, he said that'd be close to $1 billion. This is a good question for you, Mag. $300 million, less than $300 million to make GTA 5 a decade ago. What do you think it costs to make GTA 6, and how much would how much would the bag be for? My voice cracked. How much would the bag be for GTA 6?
Easily double that. I would say it probably cost them about $500 million to $600 million
to make the game.
To make the new one, sure. That would
okay,
make
so
sense.
how much would they charge to put it on Game Pass, knowing they'll still sell it on Xbox and PS5 consoles regardless?
Let's take a look right now. Seeing that GTA 5 has made over 8.5, almost $9 billion. Xbox will not pay the money that it would actually take to do that. Now, the other thing is,
jeez,
yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to have you can almost guarantee it's going to have a marketing deal with Sony because of their history. Rockstar has had a marketing deal with Sony since Vice City. Put that in perspective.
Oh yeah,
okay? Vice City and above have all been marketed by Sony, and some of them were launched exclusively on the PS2 before they even
before the Xbox existed, right?
That's right.
So I think it was like 02 or something that the GTA San Andreas came to Xbox.
Sure. So
better version.
And so now here's the other thing. So now GTA 4, Red Dead, all those other games, Red Dead 2, GTA 5, they were all marketed with Sony. I can't see them flipping that over because Sony probably said, listen, they probably made the deal way back in the PS4 gen, saying, listen, we want marketing deal for the next sure. title, and we'll keep, you know what I mean? So anyways, whatever. That's besides the point. We're getting off topic.
Last of Us says it costs two Burger King Whoppers and a handshake. A hand and a milkshake in a number 7 combo.
A little more than that, but
Black Viking and Hargate said that they have heard that GTA 6 costs $2 billion to make, unless they were saying a $2 billion to get the deal on Game Pass. It was a funny thing. Tim wasn't being serious.
No.
But it was a funny thing. Like, can you imagine? I thought, you know what? If they did it, Game Pass would finally spike, because that's really what brings people in. It's not, hey, we got lots of great games that may be your next favorite game. No, what grows Game Pass or grows Netflix is we've got season 6 of Stranger Things. I don't even know what number they're on. It's been too long to wait. We've got season 6 of Stranger Things. We've got this, and I don't remember what's on there.
You know what the thing is, Colt, what I was going to say, sorry, I remembered what I was going to say there. The litmus test is going to be Call of Duty this year.
Right. Yeah.
If Xbox is able to get Gulf War on Game Pass day and date, that'll be interesting to see if that actually moves the needle, because the people that are going to play games like Grand Theft Auto, I know this is all just whatever. We're just having fun with this conversation. It's not reality when it comes to GTA 6, but
it's close.
We're just having fun with it. You got the majority of the players are on PlayStation. The next biggest number of people are on PC. The last place people are on Xbox.
Sure.
So when it comes to purchasing Call of Duty. So now what I want to see is if they put Call of Duty day and date on Xbox Game Pass, is that in fact going to move the needle, or are people just going to pay their $80 and call it a day? Right?
I don't know that answer. I've thought about it ever since they proposed this idea. Like, how many people go, man, I buy it every year, but I really, because people have these, hopefully if you're frugal enough, you have this conversation like, I buy it every year for 60, now it's $70 in the US, I really only play it hardcore for about 2 months. If I get it on Game Pass, it'll basically cost me half the money, and I'll just get the next one next year. I don't know if that rationale happens.
It might, but you actually have to have access to the Xbox ecosystem first. So you'd probably either have to have a console
PC Game Pass
or PC. Sure. So
yes, so a PC guy or an Xbox guy or a PlayStation guy can say, look, I don't really use my Series S or X all that much, but $70 for Call of Duty and I only play it like the first month or so. Like, someone goes like totally, if I can use a 2010 or 2008 phrase, they go ham on Call of Duty for a month. They're like, geez, I pay $70 for it. Why not get it for $10 or $15 out the door with a subscription, or $1 with a trial? Like, that's what Xbox needs. Like, bring people in like, hey, the new hotness is here.
Serve, I'm assuming I'm saying that right. Serve in the chat actually said it right. He's like, Xbox is going to do the pay $100 to get it 5 days early because now they own the marketing rights. So they're going to get a bunch of people playing it. They're not going to get it on Game Pass. They're just going to buy the game as they would normally do. I think the PlayStation players are going to be like, what? I'm not part of the Xbox ecosystem anyway. I'm just going to buy the game as I normally do. And that's going to continue. And there's no guarantee that, everybody talks about the 10-year deal and all this other stuff. There's no guarantee that Call of Duty is going to be still around in 10 years. Like, it could be on. Like, you know what I mean? We make it sound like it's going to be forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a few more years if they have some bad releases.
Well, I mean, they're crushing it. They're crushing it. I mean, they just released the new, the new Warzone mobile, and then mobile and all that stuff. It's doing amazing.
Well, the last two were like, they're worse, and they still sold really well. -0 in the chat says, they actually have to advertise it. Laugh out loud. That was funny.
Well, they don't even know if it's coming. We don't even know if it's coming this year. They didn't say it's coming this year. People keep saying, oh, no, Phil said it. No, he effing didn't. He
said something. Maybe he said his little like wishy-washy comment because they want that to be a moment in the showcase. Like, here's Gulf War. Okay, and then they're like, Game Pass day and date. But Xbox doesn't do Game Pass day and date as an emblazoned 3D spinning logo with sparkly bedazzles anymore. They just kind of like, at the end, it's like, Game Pass. At the very end of the trailer.
They should, if you know what? Actually, I never thought of that. I'm going to stand corrected.
Call us and we'll do the advertising for you.
Maybe he was stalling so that they got something to announce at the Summer Games Show. So let's just say, for argument's sake, it is coming. I'd be very curious to see. We will revisit this. What is it, April 1st? We will revisit this conversation in about 6 months or so. And I'd be very curious to see the trajectory of where it goes, like for Game Pass subs and or just the regular sale of the game, which I would assume will just continue as it always has and always will.
Yeah,
right?
And Hargeet,
so let's see.
Hargeet says in the chat, I've been saying Call of Duty's not the Game Pass driver. It's a platform driver based on marketing. So, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Hargeet's not wrong either, right? He's not wrong at all. The other thing is that when it comes to when it comes to getting that game in there into that subscription model, a lot of people are going to say, well, I'm not going to subscribe there for that, because a lot of people purchase those games because they play the entire year until the next one comes out or whatever.
A lot of people do, yeah.
Right. So people are not going to literally subscribe for Call of Duty because then you're going to be paying $200 for Call of Duty.
Well, the point of Game Pass is to bring you in with one game and keep you there because you found some other things that won you over, or you're going to cancel and then you hear that this is coming in March and that sort of thing. But Xbox needs to do a better job. Born to the Grave, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, thanks to both of you gents for keeping it real. I look forward to listening to you guys during my work day on Tuesdays. Keep up the great work. So thank you for checking out. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I think Google Podcasts is almost done with their run, so hopefully you find a place. Recently, I've been putting the show on video version on Spotify. So if you're on your phone or on the browser or on the app, you can watch the show as well as listen to it. But then it's audio if you're in your car, and drive safely, please, while you listen to Mag and I, two old crotchety old Gen X gamers. Chris R, thank you so much for the $5. Says, will Xbox ever start advertising again? I can't remember the last time I saw an ad for a console or for even Game Pass. Why is it so barren? Mag, you want to take that?
Well, what do you got to advertise? There's nothing. There's nothing for another 7 weeks, and there's been nothing in 2024. People have to face that fact, and it's fine. When they do have something, sure, they better advertise the living crap out of it, because they got the money. It's not like they don't have the money. I understand that Xbox does not have $3 trillion. That's not how business works. Just because Microsoft has $3 trillion,
I think their marketing budget is lower than their competitor, for sure, Mag.
Sure, absolutely. And it's not like Phil's got like a debit card that has access to $3 trillion. It doesn't work like that, right? So, I mean, my corporation is worth billions of dollars, and they give me a pittance to work with, right? So they're like, oh, no, you're getting this. And I'm like, dude, you know what I mean? You want to loosen the purse strings, but that's not how it works, because they got to stay rich, and that's how it works, right?
Yeah. So, this is a thing that keeps going over and over, where we say things, and Phil says things like, we don't do this because. I'm like, but you're the head of Xbox.
Yeah, but the head of Xbox still has to answer
to Satya and Amy Hood.
And they have to answer to people, and therefore there are budgetary restraints there. However, that being said, if you're trying to grow the business and you do have the backing of Microsoft, well, then when you actually do have a product to play, which will be one in at the end of May, will be the first time for the year. So that's almost halfway through the year. Then you better start marketing the living crap out of that, and then dovetail into your June showcase, and then dovetail into your fall releases.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you're not going to get the momentum that you need to build that foundation.
I feel like I want Xbox to advertise the way I think they should. And I know a lot of the chat is in line with that. And I constantly get reminded by people who know a bit better than I that it's too early to market for Avowed. It's too early to market more for Indiana Jones. Or why would they market right now when they want to make a bigger reveal or show more of the game at the showcase? And then I know that the game is not going to come out till October or November. I'm like, then we're going to wait. As gaming fans, especially if you're here listening to our podcast, we really appreciate you. Hit the like button if you're having a good time, because it makes a big difference to us. You're here listening to Mag and I talk about the business because you care the same way we do about whether the forward-facing part of the business or how they're going to talk and get us synergized and energized. Like, we want to see a trailer for our favorite game so we can share it with our buddies, or we can share it with our friend who's like, I don't know if I want to get an Xbox, or I don't know if that game's as cool as you think it is. We like that word-of-mouth trajectory of excitement, that synergy. Let me read what Phil said in this interview recently to Polygon. He says, you can't succeed. Oh my gosh. It's like he asked Mag for his talking points. He says, you can't succeed unless you draw in customers from other publishers and other platforms. And because you're not finding new customers with the games that you're building. Everybody's kind of fighting over the same size pie. I want to read that part again where he says, you can't succeed. And I think he means everybody, but really it just sounds like Xbox. So I'll say Xbox can't succeed unless they draw in customers from other publishers and other platforms.
Yeah, obviously.
Okay, you agree with that?
Yeah, because the player base is not big enough to move forward. Why do you think they're becoming a publisher?
Even PlayStation makes the majority of their money off of games they do not make or even partner with, Mag.
Exactly. Why do you think Xbox bought ABK? They didn't buy ABK so that you can play Call of Duty Ghosts on Game Pass. They bought it to become a publisher to make money. Don't people see that?
Yeah.
The subsidiary benefits are you get to play the game on Game Pass, but that was never their focus. Their focus was to become one of the biggest publishers on the planet, so that they make 70% publisher fee on every game that gets sold or played.
And I think they will, Mag. I think they will become one of the biggest publishers without putting a big chunk of games on PlayStation. In fact, Let me interject this now.
Well, hold on. I don't know about that.
Okay, correct me.
I don't know about that. No, I'm not going to correct you.
Come on now.
I'm not going to correct you because we don't know.
Well,
we just don't know what their plan is.
Well, there was Windows Central. Jez Corden said that they could leapfrog PlayStation with ABK, Minecraft, and all these other games, just because the revenue is just a money printer in a lot of ways.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I'm going to interject this. What if Xbox put some games on PlayStation just to see how they would do, to see if it was well worth the move to make and worth the damage or the stress to put on the brand? Well, we've already asked that question a million times. What if they're also testing PlayStation to see how they will treat Xbox games? Maybe if they'll bury them in the store or do zero marketing, or maybe set them up hoping that they wouldn't do great to make sure that Xbox continues to dwindle away, because that's been PlayStation's MO. They make great games, but they also step on the heads of others to get where they can go. It's a business after all. So we know that Pentiment did nothing on PlayStation. Like, it ranked at like the 200 mark when it launched. It ranked horribly. And
what
then,
are you talking about, though? Pentiment. This is not a game that moved the needle on Xbox. Never mind. Like, the 4 games that they put over there.
Hold on. Hi-Fi Rush is the other one I was going to say. Yeah, I got to love Mag. He interjects the elbow jab at the perfect time. I love that. Hi-Fi Rush is a fantastic game and should, by all rights, do really, really well on PlayStation. Well, it's a year old. It didn't do all that great. I don't remember what the ranking was. Somebody in the chat, let me know. I don't think Hi-Fi Rush did big numbers on PlayStation, even though by all rights it should have.
It also didn't do a lot of big numbers on Xbox, and the problem with that is that a lot of people are using it as they've weaponized the game without playing the bloody game. And you know how I know that? I want everyone to go into their turn on their Xbox or go to their Xbox app, go to the achievements, and see the completion rate of the achievements. And we're not talking about achievements like, jump on an enemy, 100 times, bouncing on his head while juggling bowling pins. No, just complete level 3, complete level 2. Take a look at the completion rates.
That's fairly common for games, though. I don't know.
But just finishing a level, that means that the majority of players never finish the game.
I think a lot of gamers do that. Help me out on this, chat. Like, I feel like I've heard this report that so many games people get into the first couple hours and then they just walk away. I don't know.
And Hi-Fi Rush was one of them, and a lot of people weaponized that game. And it's a shame, really. It's a shame, really, because it was a fantastic game. I enjoyed it. I don't like rhythm games and stuff like that. I mean, I've played like Rockstar and stuff like that. Those are different. Those are fun. You got the guitar.
This is a different thing. Yeah, I didn't know if I'd like it, and I loved it.
And I loved it. I had a good time with it. I thought it was fun. I loved the colors, the vibe, the frame rate. Everything was excellent. The music, it was all cool.
What about how the shadows look way better on the PS5? Is that acceptable for you?
That wasn't an arguing point for me. But the thing is, a lot of people didn't finish the game. So like, what are we talking about?
Oh, Hargeet has a number. Hi-Fi was, I think Pentiment was under 200. Or under would be the right word there. Hi-Fi Rush was 124 according to True Trophies website that tracks the progress on PlayStation.
No, not trophies. Good. No, not trophies. I'm talking about achievements on Xbox.
I know, but Hargeet was referring to when I said it didn't sell all that well on PlayStation.
Oh, I got you. I understand. Yeah. Thank you, Hargeet. Thank you for the numbers. See if you can find out those numbers, Hargeet, or somebody in the chat. See if you can find those numbers. And I want to see the completion percentages.
Cecil Bell says 50% of Baldur's Gate 3 players haven't gotten past Act 1. Game of the year, mind you. And I'm assuming Cecil Bell's probably talking about the game across all platforms. I think it might be a common thing, Meg, that maybe it's on Elden Ring as well. Somebody look on Elden Ring and see how many people unlocked like a chapter 2 or some achievement. Like, that's something that Rand would do because he remembers. He's so achievement based. He remembers like what the achievements are, like to get to beat a game or to get like like chapter 3 in Death Stranding. Like, everybody dropped off for the most part. We went way off a field there.
Sure.
Which is what we do. Hit the like button if you're enjoying the show. We really appreciate it. Thank you for being here with us. And Meg, thank you for everything you do. I appreciate it. I feel way better talking news with you today.
Yeah, a little bit more. Today's a little bit more spicier than last week. Was very laid back. It's like we were like completely stoned. Like, hey man, just cool.
Hey,
man.
hey, bruh.
Yeah, it's like, hey, bro, man. It's like unicorns in the sky, man. Like, you know what I mean?
Hey,
and
man,
now
if
this
you
week
could
it's
be,
like all of a sudden.
hey, man, if you could be any color, flying through space at 100 miles an hour, what would it be? You know, I went to high school in the 90s during like the Nirvana and the Pearl Jam era, and you all of a sudden like spored from a mushroom were guys that used to be preppies or jocks. I know that's not terminology that's used anymore, but guys that were like on the football team or wore really nice clothes for a high schooler because their dad like owned the tennis club. All of a sudden, these guys were like hippies from the 60s because they started listening to the Pixies and Nirvana and Pearl Jam and stuff. And this one guy just like magically turns into one day I'm sitting next to him in history class, and the next week all of a sudden he's like a hippie from for the grunge era in the 90s, and he's like, if you could be any color, and his eyes are like this, and I'm oblivious to drug use as a 16-year-old. I have no idea what it looks like when somebody's high, but he's like, what color would you be? And I'm like, I don't know, Jeff. I have no. He goes, I'd be yellow. Because yellow's mellow.
Wow. Yeah, I worked in restaurants for decades. I've seen a lot of high people. So trust me, I've seen all manner of whatever. Yeah.
Chat, let me know what color you would be if you could fly through space.
Plaid.
Any color.
Be plaid. Like Dark Helmet from Spaceballs. He's gone plaid.
Dude, we were looking that up this weekend. Did you know that the main character that plays the Luke Skywalker character was Bill Pullman?
Yeah, of course I do.
Of course you do. I haven't seen the movie since it came to video in like 87.
Bill Pullman and John Candy was Bartholomew.
Oh, yeah, I know. But I didn't know. I was like, who's the young guy? All I could think of was Stryker from Airplane. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't him. So I looked it up on IMDb yesterday. I'm like, Bill Pullman? That's awesome. Yeah. I got to get these super chats. You guys are amazing.
Go for it, brother.
Chris R, thank you for the 5 says, oh, I already got that one, Chris, but thank you again. I appreciate you. Code 3 with the $2 says, I just sneezed. I can't get the snot off my screen. Go like this, bro. There you go. Cure for Knowledge with the $10 super. Thank you so much, Cure. Says, an Xbox handheld sounds cool, but won't that be an even worse problem for a lowered powered SKU like the Series S when you consider development, even if next gen? We talked about this last week, Cure. Right now, the Xbox Series S is slightly more powerful than my Z1 Extreme. I'm pretty sure my Z1 Extreme. No, the Steam Deck. I think this one's a little bit more powerful than a Series S. I think. I've got the Z1 Extreme, which is like close to partway close to a PS5 in certain ways. Hargeet will be able to tell you that in the chat if he's still there. But no, right now, if Xbox put out a handheld, we talked about, I had this crazy idea that Xbox would put out this handheld in a year from now, and it would bridge into next generation. Like, it would get them in the handheld market. It would get them a new console right away. It would be more powerful in the Series S or close to in 2025. But I don't know, maybe it's the RAM. Like, they'd have to take the Series S, add more RAM, and make it a handheld. If you just add 2 more gigs of RAM to, get up close to 10 or 12, then I think all problems are alleviated for quite a while. That is a good question. Johnny V with the $5 super says, yeah, Meg, I mean, do you think that's we kind of dug into that a lot last week.
No, we did. I'm not going to get into it. I'm just going to say that would also help with the price point.
Yeah. Oh, so let me ask you a quick question, Mag.
At an affordable price, yes.
Yes, I think I know where you stand on this, but do you think Xbox would push for the affordable handheld, or would they push for it to be a little bit more expensive to get in direct competition with like ROG and Lenovo?
I don't see why they wouldn't offer both if they're working on it.
2 of them?
I mean, I know that sounds
trying to do powerful
ludicrous.
And cheap.
Well, I mean, look at what the ROG Ally does, and look at what the Steam Deck does. They have different. Well, I mean, they have different levels, or different price points, right, for different reasons. But I still think that's the kind of thing that they got to keep it under $500, and then they would have like a more elite version for the connoisseur of power at somewhere around the $700 price range. American.
Yeah, I'm also speculating that this handheld. I mean, this is my ROG Ally. I speculate, excuse the filthy fingerprints because it's got a touch screen, but I would speculate that when you flip over the Xbox handheld, that it would have a Windows plus Xbox logo, because it would be fully Windows based, but also Xbox console based. Because think about it, if you can buy the ROG Ally or the Lenovo Go or the Steam Deck, and you see, let's pretend this is the Xbox handheld, you see this thing and you're like, wait, it does everything the ROG, Lenovo, and Steam Deck does, plus it plays the 6,000 on offer Xbox console games. Like, I can buy a ROG Ally, but for the same price, I can get the Xbox handheld, plus it plays Xbox games. Like, even if you own 20 Xbox games, it does more than the other one. Like, just think about that. I don't know if we're getting into that today. It depends on if you guys ask some more questions about it. But Johnny V, thank you so much for the 5. Super says, why can't it be like the old days? Nintendo versus Sega. I miss those days. Love your show, guys.
Well, you're still getting it now. It just says now it's PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah,
I mean, and Nintendo's always the
Nintendo's
outlier.
like this.
Yeah, they're the outlier because they're just their own business, man. And they're doing their own thing, and they're doing fine. And they got no worries.
Yeah. Hey, if their Switch can run multi-platform games, like we talked about, right? Like if it could play the next Call of Duty or the next Ubisoft title, why would you need anything else?
It will. The Switch 2 is 100% going to have third-party games on it.
Oh, bro, that's going to be, as long as they don't mess something up, like that will be really healthy for the business. Even if Nintendo just takes off in the stratosphere even further and just leaves everybody behind. Well, I mean, not leaving behind, but it'll be really good for the business to see Nintendo flourish and then Xbox and PlayStation continue to do well enough to stay alive. So
they'll do fine.
Yeah. JD Gamer, thank you so much for the $50 super chat. And there's some capitalized letters in here, so I'm gonna yell those when it comes time to
scream them. Go ahead.
Scream them. The or people are having. Hold on. This is a big super. I got to fix the typo. The or people are having. I think it's like the problem people are having with Xbox and PS content creators is they have short memories. Power World has been the most successful game this year, period. And it's an Xbox console exclusive. That was quarter 1. Hellblade! I'm sorry, that's annoying. Hellblade is quarter 2. Indie and Avowed are quarter 3 and 4. Now, JD Gamer makes a pretty good point here. When we were talking about Power World, like Power World was big for a month for Xbox.
Yes, we did talk about that.
Sorry, somebody just came out like I was yelling.
What? Yeah.
Sorry.
I'd be curious to see if there was a spike in. I would like to see if there was a spike in Game Pass subscribers from it, or if it was just existing Xbox Game Pass subscribers playing it.
I think a lot of people,
as well as PC.
There was like 6 million people playing on the Xbox platform, which means they were on PC or Xbox Game Pass most likely. Sure. So yeah, I think there was a spike.
So
it lasted for a month.
And we won't know. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, we won't know if that actually was successful in their eyes, because I mentioned it before. I've talked about it before. I have people that work at Netflix and Amazon Prime, and they've all said the same thing when it comes to the business model. Their version of success, or their measurement of success, is how many new subscribers come with a new show released. Or in this case, a new game released, right? So, for example, if you've got 27 million people on Game Pass and 6 million of those people were playing Pal World, but 5.9 million of those people were already subscribed, that's a fail. That means that's a failure. Yeah. They have a metric that they mark, and they say, listen, it has to be a minimum, whatever their internal numbers are, 1 million, 2 million. Disney, it's higher. Well, not anymore. Netflix, they have higher numbers. Like, it has to be a minimum of 3 to 4 million for the show to be a success.
Yeah.
And that's how they measure their success, based on new subscribers. Yes, I understand, and they do understand that they're trying to appease the people that are already in there because they want to keep them subscribed. I get that. Mm-hmm. However, their measurement of success is how many new subscribers came in based on the new IP. Now, we'll never know those numbers because they will not release those numbers to us, and plus, that's none of our business, to be quite honest. So I'm very curious. I just want to know for my own personal reasons, like a fly on the wall. I'd be curious to see how many new subscribers they got from Pal World, or how many were just existing Game Pass subscribers.
I think we can safely assume that they didn't know, they didn't expect a spike in Game Pass subscribers at all. When Pal World came on, they probably just expected a regular amount of growth. And then I would assume Pal World exceeded their expectations. So if they were expecting a little bump, they got a nice little lump for a month or half a month. And like Helldivers, like that's something that they didn't account for. Like when Square Enix says, we're going to put out Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and it's going to be amazing, and we're going to put out Final Fantasy 16 on PS5, it's going to be exclusive. And then they look at the sales and they go, oh crap. Well, at least we got the bag from PlayStation. We're not satisfied, or that didn't meet our expectations, and they put out their statement like they do. I think for Pal World and Helldivers being way higher, that they said, hey, this was a great growth, and we need more like this. Danny Passion Official with the $5 super that I almost missed says, Game Pass in 2024 has gotten many great games like Dead Island 2, Persona 3, Diablo 4, Pal World, and many others. Talk about that. Yeah, you're right. Dead Island 2 coming out almost a year after it launched is a fantastic game. Persona 3, the Persona games are huge. Like, I don't like them. I've tried them, but they are a big deal. So maybe there is a little bit of spike going on this year in the interim of waiting for Hellblade. That little 4-month thing.
That's what we're talking about is, did it move the needle? Right, and we will not know that until they release the next set of numbers.
I think their needle doesn't move as much as we'd hope, but probably does move a little bit. Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't matter. It's got to move the needle at the end of the day. So, like I said, it's a combination of great software combined with public.
And it's a great way to stay in shape.
And a great way to stay in shape. Public popularity. It's got to be a mixture of both that you get people's attention. Flippin' Minds, actually, he mentioned the Netflix Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight. That's I'd be very curious to see. I mean, I know that Netflix already has 200+ million subscribers. Let's see if that jumps 5 to 10 million because of that fight. People will subscribe for a month just to be able to watch that fight, right? Or, I mean, whatever. I mean, let's face it. I mean, who do you not know that doesn't have Netflix? Just go to their house and watch the fight. You know what I mean? So, like, you're going to have people getting together.
Give me your password.
Yeah. People are just going to go drive over to the buddy's house and watch the fight. But it'd be curious to see there, too. And that's how they measure their success. So, like I said, it's got to be in tandem. It's a combination of the two. So that's what drives the business forward. If it does not drive the business forward, the business is going to fail. So that's and I'm not saying it's failing, but it's also not growing at the rate that they've openly said it's not growing the way it should be. And that's because it needs that perfect storm of great software and public popularity to be able to get people to go over there and start subscribing. Carry on.
Maybe. Like a lot of people are saying, yeah, Dead Island 2 is amazing and coming to Game Pass is a big deal. Maybe Xbox needs to announce those games earlier,
or put together a collage video, something. Put together a collage video of Dead Island 2, Persona, Diablo 4. Like Diablo 4 was put on Game Pass 2 days ago? I think it was 2 days ago.
Yeah.
No one's talking about it. What?
You could literally have one employee whose job it is to make one sizzle reel for Game Pass every month. Like, all right, here's what we have coming for May. Go grab the footage and make the sizzle reel and run it by us. And I could do that in half a day.
Half a day. You could do it in an hour. Make a TikTok video in 30 minutes while you're sitting on a bike in the gym, for Christ's sake, on your phone.
Or your toilet bike.
Yeah, right, a toilet bike. I can make a sizzle reel and put it on TikTok. You got hundreds of millions of people on there. Put out some sizzle reels of this is what we've got so far for 2024, and just like that super chat, put all those titles in there with little flashes of the game and throw it all over the place. Put it on X, put it on TikTok, put it on YouTube, where the kids are watching.
I think it's so ridiculous that we're begging Xbox to market hard so that they can grow, but it's like
I don't care what they're doing.
It's just part of the business to get people excited.
They can do whatever they want. We're just voicing our opinions of what they could be doing in order to drum up some more attention outside of the Xbox community. That's already everybody in this chat right now. and listening to the show later are all part of this community. They know exactly what's in Game Pass. They know what's coming out. They know what's happened. We're not the target. We're not the target. You're already there. You already know what's happening. I already know what's happening on all the consoles. I know what's happening on Steam and everything else. It's not us.
You want to hear the problem when you say it's not us?
Yeah.
You sound like the Burbs. It's not them, Art. It's us.
Yeah.
It's us. When he's talking about the crazy, we're the ones. Oh crap! I just or rack. I thought I messed up my camera longer than a minute. He says it's not us. We're the ones who are mowing our lawn down to the. Yeah, it's the Gen Z people. There was a report that came out that the Gen Z people, the millennials, are not buying as many games as the older people or the Gen X people. I don't know why that's a thing. The millennials are in their 30s. Or at the very least in their 20s, and they have money for games. They're buying lots of games. I don't believe that report.
That's bull. That's all bull crap.
That's all bull crap.
It's all. And you know the thing is, it's like, oh, the younger generation doesn't do that. That younger generation is not going to stay young forever. They're going to grow up and start buying games the same way I did. And like my son and his generation, they're upstairs. I can hear him screaming. He should already be in bed, by the way, but he's upstairs screaming, playing Fortnite, the new season of Fortnite with all his friends and all that other stuff, and Roblox and all the other stuff they play, right? He plays Call of Duty with me, but that's it. He doesn't play with his friends. They all play these free-to-play games and have a blast with them. That's now.
Yeah, that's like no money when you're talking about a one purchase of Call of Duty, and the others are basically free-to-play.
The money comes from me. Right, and my wife. But the thing is that in 5 years, 10 years, he's not going to be playing those free-to-play models anymore. His tastes are going to change.
Told you, my 12-year-old doesn't love that open world stuff. Like he was mildly interested in Dragon's Dogma.
Right, and their tastes will change as time goes on. My gaming taste, I've been gaming since 1979. My gaming tastes have changed over the decades. Right?
Yeah.
I started with this. You see these cabinets behind me? That's where I started. And then it evolved and evolved and evolved and evolved. And I thought RPGs were stupid. And now RPGs is almost what I almost exclusively play.
True. I did too. The whole fantasy based stuff where you have to make I thought that was pretty lame when I was younger. But I also used to sit and play games where you build stuff or Roller Coaster Tycoon. If a brand new one of those came out, maybe I would play it, but like the strategy games just don't interest me anymore. Let me read these supers are piling up.
David Frame really made me laugh. He said, when Gen Z gets older, a gaming console will cost $1 million.
Yeah.
He's probably not wrong. Right next to a carton of eggs.
Sorry, did you see today that Putin from Russia said he wants them to make some video game consoles? So as long as they call one of them Ivan Drago 2000, I will buy it.
Hey man, I'd be curious to see what they get.
Would you buy a Russian console?
That'd be hilarious.
All it plays is Tetris.
It's spying. I mean, we're being spied on by everybody anyway. The Americans, the Chinese. Might as well have the Russians in the mix, right? Every time someone does a
it's got a retinal scan in it.
Well, every time someone does a stupid little dance on TikTok, what do you think? The Chinese government's not watching? Of course they're watching.
That was a pretty good dance. That's what they say.
Yeah. Well, sorry. They're pretending that's the reason why they're trying to ban it. They're just trying to make more money for Amazon and Microsoft. But that's a whole other, and Apple. That's a whole other
the
story.
world's not going to be around that much longer anyway. Papa Baco 72 with a $10 super chat says, good to see your show again, Colt. Been too long. Catch the rest of the show tomorrow at work. Keep being real, Mag. Enjoy the infotainment from your brother. Infotainment, bro.
Infotainment. I appreciate that. Yes,
love that. I'm going to make a shirt that has me with the Pinocchio nose. What did I say? You, Mag?
Trust me, bro.
Trust me, bro. And it says your infotainment podcast.
Yeah, fake insider. Trust me, bro. And then it's going to say infotainment podcast on the back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was gonna make a Johnny Carson reference, but it's probably offensive. Remember the thing when he put the letter up to his head?
Yeah. He was like the great whatever
Zambini or something like that.
Yeah, something. I can't remember. Yeah, and he was. Yeah, he'd always say the thing, and yeah.
Not to sound old. That's like even. We were really little when that was like super. Or we were pretty young when that was popular. But yeah. Mag's got like a piece of paper and he's like, I see a game studio. Trust me, bro. We got Galveston. Thank you so much for the $5 super. Says, how many unique users across Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo? No need to buy the Xbox games. They have already played them. I own them all, so no need to buy again. I think he's talking about the games that come to PlayStation. I just think Xbox is just going to grab a couple other extra people. I know they want Sea of Thieves to have a second iteration, like a full new iteration of Sea of Thieves on console, and then you get all these people on PlayStation excited.
You know what I would love?
What's that?
I'd love, Colt? I would love for Sea of Thieves to be an actual narrative Grand Theft Auto style Assassin's Creed Odyssey open world game, and then the Sea of Thieves that you have now will be their version of GTA Online, so that you can just do that on the side with your friends and all that stuff.
I would like more fleshed out, like normal feeling, cooperative single player content, and then all the organic action happens like out of the high seas.
Like GTA 5. Yeah. Model it like GTA 5. You have a whole like narrative open world game, full story, the whole 9 yards, voice actors, the whole whatever, and then you have the online portion, which is completely separate, and it'll be its own living entity like GTA Online. And that's all there is to it. That's what'll get me back into Sea of Thieves. I played the Pirates of the Caribbean story mode. I thought that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I had a great time with that. I played it with my wife and my son. We had some fun with that. And but other than that,
they really need to fix that hand-to-hand combat, like having 4 bullets or 5 bullets, and then the swiping of the sword. Like that's always been its biggest downfall. Of course, the ship combat's great, but I don't know. I've enjoyed some time with that, but I should say that Sea of Thieves is doing really well pre-orders wise still. So out of the 4 games that Xbox brings over, Pentiment didn't do very well. Hi-Fi Rush didn't do very well. Grounded and Sea of Thieves will probably do pretty well. So JD Gamer, thank you so much for the $5 super. Says Power World created enough of a spike, especially in the Asian markets, that they began to bundle the console with it. So I think that's evidence of moving the needle.
All right. Fair enough.
All right, one last thing. I wanted to talk to you, Mag. If you can pull up, I DM'd you, I don't know if you pulled it back up. I DM'd Mag a list of the prominent or semi-prominent 2024 games lineup, because while we wait for our favorite games, there's a bunch of games in the mix, and I'm kind of mixed about my excitement about them. So I thought I would just kind of have you look at that list, Mag, and tell me what from this list is something that you can't wait to get your little grimy fingers on to play. Because you said it was dominated by some Asian or Eastern market games, but...
Well, no. So far. I'm talking about Game of the Year so far, Game of the Year...
okay.
Nominees that people have already discussed up to this point, which would be
Dragon's
Dogma and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
And then maybe like a Dragon Ishin as well might do really, really well on nominations.
Sure. Hey, and that wasn't a reflection of the entire 2024. That was just a reflection of the first up to this point.
I'm not accusing you of thinking some games only came from one place. There is a more heavy leaning of those more prominent games than there were last year, for sure. And that's just how it is. They've got the big heavy hitters more than some of the Western studios do, but I guess it's kind of split half and half. But what sticks out on this list to you? I say that because you guys know that a lot of the JRPGs or Japanese studio games don't resonate with me. They don't become my favorite games. And so I'm like, what am I going to be excited about and when? That's why we're having this conversation. What sticks out?
When you say Metal Gear Solid, I'm assuming you're talking about Snake Eater, right? The third one?
Yes.
The one that's an absolute must. Now the Tomb Raider, I don't know anything about. It's not the remaster, is it? Like the 1 to 3 remaster? Oh,
I kind of put them together because they're both like remasters. I think that one of them that's already out.
Yeah, no, they're already out. But I'm not interested in any of that. I'm interested in the Metal Gear Solid because it's a ground-up remake. The other one is just a remaster of the 25-year-old game.
Right.
So I'm not interested in that. Little Nightmares, top of the list.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Little Nightmares fan. Indiana Jones, I'm interested, but I'm not like counting down the days because A, we don't know when it's coming out, and B, I need to see some proper. Like I think I need to see it I think it needs to be in my hands to get a proper feel for if this game is going to be hot. So I'm going to kind of hold off.
Or at least gameplay that wasn't cut up into a million pieces. Sure. I'm going to paste these in the chat while you're talking about it, so people can also.
I pretty much know what to expect from Hellblade 2, so I'm going to play it when it comes out, and we'll see how it goes. It's not top of my list, but I would say Metal Gear Solid Remake and Star Wars Outlaws I've already played, so that is up at the top of my list.
Okay.
Because,
Star Wars Outlaws,
I'm
you said, right?
Yeah, because I'm a fake insider, so I've already played it. So, yeah.
What about Warhammer 40K Space Marines 2?
Nah. I'm not a Warhammer fan. It's not
Well,
really
I mean,
my
I'm
thing.
not either, but this is like a third person.
Oh, and Little Nightmares. Sorry. So Little Nightmares, Star Wars
Yeah.
Outlaws, Metal Gear Solid, and the other one that you didn't put on there is Call of Duty Gulf War, because I love the Black Ops games minus
Yeah.
Black Ops 4, which I thought was really stupid. And Magnum, that's really funny. Yeah, that was really stupid, Black Ops 4. But this, I think, might be a return to form. So let's see.
Okay.
So that's my list. I said Star Wars Outlaws, Metal Gear Solid, Snake Eater.
I was going to
Gulf
sell you
War.
on Space Marine 2. It's a third person. It's not. It used to be cover shooter back in 360, but yeah, you fight hordes of aliens. They just come swarming in, kind of like Helldivers,
Sure.
but it's more like a linear single player game. Yeah, I think it actually might be more in line with like a single player Helldivers. You think that might be something you're interested in, or are you?
No, I'll play it. There's no
Okay.
question. No, I'll play it. Yeah, I just for Space Marine 2, I'm going to play it. But I'm saying you asked the question of, is it my most anticipated?
Sure.
My most anticipated is Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah.
Again, already seen
Same.
it. And Little Nightmares, Gulf War, and oh crap, what was the other one now?
Metal Gear Snake Eater.
Snake Eater.
Yeah.
Snake Eater,
See,
yeah.
I listen to you sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes,
My standouts would be Star Wars Outlaw, Space Marine 2, Avowed, Indiana Jones. Hellblade, I'm like, man, that one's really got to win me over because I had a real hard time with the first game. People know that.
Yeah. We played it. We're playing a better version of the game, but we're getting. I think it's going to be more of the same.
I hope it's more. Obviously, the combat's going to be better, and I hope it's more.
No, it looked better. Like
Yeah,
the combat looked better. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's going to be really good. I just hope it's sometimes games just don't hit with me. So I'm not going to pretend like Hellblade 2 is going to be amazing. I didn't finish the first one. I hope Flintlock's okay, but Focus has kind of been hit or miss. So it's kind of a weird year for me when I look at. I don't care about Snake Eater or Tomb Raider remaster or the Battlefront remasters. Little Nightmares is cool. Yeah, it's kind of a weird year. When I put this list in, it was a bullet list, and it just kind of slammed them all together. So it's a weird year. So
Stellar Blade, I finished the demo, by the way, and regardless of the obvious assets, by the way, if you have the demo, put the skin suit on. It's worth it. Anyways, in all seriousness, the game is actually really good.
I've heard it's really good. Yeah,
I loved it. That shot up the list for me.
What would you? How would you describe it? I hear people say it's a little bit Dark Souls. It's a little bit. It's like Dark Souls Bayonetta mix.
It's like a Dark Souls. It's like a Dark Souls light, and I mean light.
Okay,
So,
you don't have to worry about getting absolutely chanked by the enemies.
No. You don't walk up there. The dude just doesn't look at you and like sneeze and you die. Like, I mean, you actually have to go into combat. The parrying is excellent. The music is fun. I enjoy the music. It's really kind of like really trippy, sort of out there, and it's really great. The graphics are great. It plays really well in performance mode. I'm really looking forward to it, and like I said, I really enjoy the combat. I haven't got a weapon. I didn't use any gunplay. I literally just used the sword, and I really enjoyed it
as well. Okay.
Yes, there is. I never got into any of that. The bosses were excellent. I like the world building, the idea. I'm not going to give that away in case anybody wants to go give it a shot. It's free, for crying out loud, so go for it. Anyways, it shot up the list of like. Yes, I'm getting this game. So when I start digging more through that backlog, that will be one of the first ones I pick up. You know what I mean? Like of the newer games that are coming out, right? Because I'm like a year behind, except for Call of Duty. Call of Duty, I always buy day one because I need to be part of the. I got to be part of the community, right? So I'm always in there, and so I already told everybody on Xbox and on PlayStation I'll be playing on both systems. So. You know what I mean? Like I'll be playing on both, and because I got a huge following on Xbox and a now growing following on PlayStation. So I'll be playing in both areas, both consoles. So yeah, so it'll be interesting. But anyways,
Okay.
Little Nightmares, that's a huge one for me. I played both of them on Xbox. I got 1,000 out of 1,000 on both. Because I just kept going back and replaying them. I found all the collectibles. I enjoyed all of the lore, how very bizarre and crazy it is. I really enjoyed the hell out of that. So I really look forward to the new one.
It's really hard to say which one is better from 1 and 2. I think I liked 1 even more than 2. I'm almost done with 2. I think I got really close to finishing it. They're really cool little games. And
Holy
they're really
crap,
creepy.
JB1521, you're right. He said, "Who cares? It's crossplay." What the hell am I talking about?
What? Oh, for Call of Duty?
Yeah, for Call of Duty. I didn't even what an idiot. I feel like Will.
I
Ferrell
forget that too. That always
Not
like
you.
yeah.
Me,
Yeah.
I'm the idiot.
No, I do.
Yeah,
I forget that it's crossplay.
I just hand out my Activision ID to everybody and just be like, "Yo, wherever I'm playing it, whether I'm playing it on Xbox or PlayStation, I'm like, you guys can find me here, so you know where I am." Sorry, thank you for the heads up. I totally forgot about that. See what happens when you're old. Fantasticals. Little Nightmares 3 is made by a different studio, sadly. What the F does that mean? What happened to the other studio?
My moderator Happy Bomb's cracking me up in the chat right now. Pick 3, my lord. Pick 3. Yeah.
Pick 3?
Yeah. Remember on Shrek when he's trying to pick which damsel he's going to go rescue, and the guy with the executioner's hood like, pick 3, my lord.
Pick 3.
He said he's holding up 2 fingers. I kept saying that when I played Dragon's Dogma. What a crazy show we've had. I will be gone tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to be flying for 10 hours to Amsterdam for a celebration for a big game. That'll be fun. I've never been out of the country. So I've only been to Oregon. It'll be great. People hate it when I say that. I've literally only been as far as Omaha, Nebraska in my life.
Cold.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
You know, there are borders outside of America, There's more.
They don't take the same money. This is like whole country.
Yeah. I told you what to tell them. I say, make sure you tell them you're Canadian. They don't. Anyway, I'm not gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna wear socks with my sandals, so they knew I was Canadian.
When you have your bag, when you have your travel bag, put a Canadian tag on it. They'll treat you nicer. Take my word for it. Being a half American, half Canadian myself.
Yeah. Heading to Amsterdam. It's a 10-hour flight. Son said flying 10 hours flight simulator to 2024. Yeah.
No, this is Flight Simulator. This is the VR mode. Colt will be playing the real one.
I'm leaving at 6 p.m. and so I'll fly all evening for 10 hours. And I'm bringing the ROG Ally, which I'm setting up for the trip. And I suppose half of that I'll probably sleep my regular sleep cycle, but I'm just not looking forward to being in a plane that long, and I'm going by myself. So I hope I'm sure I'll have a good time, but I kind of have this
fine. The time difference is not that big of a deal. It's only like 5 hours, 5.5 hours, whatever. Like I'm flying
for
to Germany.
Me, it's 9. It's 9 hours for me. 9-hour difference, but.
Oh right, yeah, that's right. You're not Eastern Standard. Yeah.
It's so funny when I talk to like my friends from the UK and Europe. They're like, "How far is it to get across the US?" It's like, yeah. I mean, my state, Washington State, is as wide as the UK. If you were to fly across either of those, so.
Simon Smith throwing shade in the chat. So okay,
Jeff goes, Colt, buy a Steam Deck. No, I just bought the ROG Ally. That was my choice. I decided to get that one. I also had this premonition that I could buy the, I think either the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally will eventually get some Xbox support proper. So I thought, why not? I don't know. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? I have no idea.
We don't know.
Yeah. What a good show, though. Mag, I appreciate you.
Yes, it was great.
While I'm gone, what are you going to be doing while I'm gone?
I'm going to be gaming and working, the same as always, and taking care of the family and whatever else. Hopefully wrap up Tiny Tina this week so I can move on to Assassin's Creed Mirage and then Dying Light 2. So I'm really looking forward to those because, like I said, FOMO ain't my thing anymore, right? So I'm gonna be enjoying the hell out of those games. And then I went on a buying spree and I started buying a bunch of old games that I haven't played in a long time, like the Tomb Raider Survivor trilogy. What's it called? The Batman Arkham trilogy. Rebought all those on PlayStation because I own them all on Xbox. So I got all those just to have. I'm rebuying. I'm buying Hogwarts Legacy again on PlayStation because I got the 1,000 on Xbox. And you remember last year I said I was going to get the Platinum and the 1,000, just to upset certain people. So I'm like, well, it's on sale now for $40, so I'm going to buy it. So I'm going to buy that too. And
that'd be a good one to get for my trip, Hogwarts Legacy. I wanted to get something I could like dive in, but I kind of doing a second playthrough, I feel like I might be on the plane going, I don't want to do this
already did
again. When it comes to replaying a game, folks, chat.
Have you played Dying
You
Light
got to
2
just
then?
go. You just got to start. What are you asking me?
Have you played Dying Light 2?
Yeah, I've played it all.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was going to say, because I haven't even turned it on yet. Like I said, I had it, and then I just never played it. So it's, but yeah, I mean, if you're in the ROG Ally, you're not going to be able to, you're going to be playing basically PC games or Xbox games.
Yeah,
So
I put Batman Arkham Origins on there because I've never finished it. I'm like 20% the way it says 12% for full completion. I'm like midway through the game.
Yeah.
Anyway, I put some older things like Mafia 3. I started a replay, so I'm in on that and some other stuff, and it's just so weird. So weird.
Yeah, man. Good times.
But yeah, hit the like button on the way out. We're gonna get out of here and have fun and take care of yourselves. I appreciate everybody who reached out this past week and said hello, and for all of you who were here in the show to hang out with us, and you all contributed greatly to the discussion and course corrected us and all that stuff. We appreciate it. Risking for the biscuits. Good to see you again. He says, get on there and look for a row that's empty in the back there and sleep for sure. I'll be set up good, I think. Hopefully I'll just sleep. I'm going to buy a neck pillow tonight and just like get the neck pillow. Hargy got me some noise canceling headphones, and I'll just, I don't know. I'll just sleep it away, part of it. Yeah.
You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I'll be on WhatsApp, so I'll reach out and I'll call some of you guys and say, hey, I'm lonely over here. I'm scared. All the windows are red. I don't know what to do. But we're...
That means you're in the red light district. But anyways, yes, carry on.
Well, Mag, thanks for everything. Guys, go follow Mag at Middle-Aged Game Guy.
Yeah, I'm there. You know,
that's the Twitter. It's in the description. We're gonna get out of here, guys. Have a great weekend. And
have a great weekend. See you guys.
Love you.